it looks like we're live. Can you guys see me? It's a mess today. I just got it like abandoned. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining, everybody that's been there. So actually, the title for today will be like, "Where the heck is everybody?" Because Mike couldn't join, Chris couldn't join. There's gonna be more people joining pretty soon, and I hope I can do a good job hosting the stream here. Okay. So, of course it's me. Okay. So, yeah. Thank you so much, you guys, for joining tonight. Let's get started. Brandon's going to be joining shortly. There's going to be more people joining. So, what's up? What happened this week? Hey, Mick, man, it's a mess. I just got like short notice that everybody's not joining today, but still, I hope I can do a good job here, like hosting, managing the stream, everything. So let's start. So anybody got the new tone poets today? I haven't got mine yet. Did anybody get tone poets? No. Yeah, I'm solo here. I was left behind. Totally messed up here. Okay. So I'm gonna show some stuff that I got this week. I've been actually catching up. I think Mike is going to be joining us later today. They had like family issues. Since I have no family, nobody likes me, nobody cares. So I'm just going to start by some stuff that I've been catching up. I finally got my Sony Clark trio. I had a Japanese pressing, which is probably going to go for sale soon. It's a beautiful, impressive record, right? I still do not have the Wayne Shorter. No, I don't. What else tone poets I got? I got this guy here, which is really good. Fred Hubbard, Blue Spears. I have an OG of this one as well, but this one I still haven't played this one yet. There's only one missing. But it is a great record. I like it. I used to have a Blue Label stereo. I got an OG mono, and I finally got the Tone Poet. But this Tone Poet really does a great job there. Hang on, let me just pull out more. And I also got the Donald Byrd. Anybody got this one? This is fantastic. I think Donald Byrd, especially in this transition to 67, it's really good. People kind of dismiss those, prefer the early Bird, like late 50s, early 60s. But I think he's got a really thing going on here. To me, this period of jazz actually past 65 is when musicians are really able to or willing to express themselves. Oh, Brandon's here. Probably left him out of the stream for like 10 minutes. Hey, Brandon, what's up?
What's happening?
Yeah. It's happening, man. I'm solo here. I was left behind. People just like me threw me under the bus, but let's do it, okay?
Well, that's okay. We'll have to invite some people on.
Oh, yeah. Quickly, just a couple things. Dean, that's the P10. I'll try to keep up with the comments because sometimes people miss it. Yeah, that's a P10.
I'll have to watch the comments this time.
Yeah. I'll keep an eye on them, guys. And yeah, if you miss any comments, please let us know. So, Tone Poets behind. Let me see what else. I was also catching up with the acoustic sound series. Some really cool stuff came this week. There's one more missing. Hang on. I got some Alice Coltrane's coming. So Eternity. That's an OG. I got this on Discogs. And also the acoustic sound series, Journey to Satchidananda, which I found really good. I found this really good. I still think that Pita El Daoud is better, but this record is pretty good too, and I get it. I've been trying, Brandon, and I think most of you guys know. I was really strict into Blue Notes and early stuff. But I mean, kind of opening, expanding, just into really crazy shit right now, and it's been paying off. I like that thing.
I think
So
everyone starts with Blue Note at some point,
right, yeah, and one thing that's been helping me a lot is reading, because I think reading his history of music and the artist's intent, you kind of get a better grasp of what was going on, right? What they kind of intended in the work. So I also got Karma, acoustic sound series. I was kind of behind on those. Okay, and yeah, there's more to come. There's more to come. One thing I like to say is the interview we dropped is this week with Craig from Analog October and Casper Sutter Jones from Gearbox Records. If you guys are not very familiar with Gearbox or the work that they do there, it's phenomenal. It's a really great mastering facility, a label. So anything Gearbox, it's really good. I've been getting some titles this week. They are releasing. So Craig from Analog October is releasing his first um, self release. Is Courtney Pine, 1986. Courtney Pine is a very important British saxophonist, right? He's still in the active. He actually varies like phases in his career, more traditional, more open, more avant-garde, a little bit of everything. So it's a very important musician, and so Analog October is putting out his first release ever, '86, and it's fantastic. I mean, it's a really good record. They are doing really like audiophile pressing at the Gearbox, and I think everybody should check on that. I got my order placed. I can't wait to have my record.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing a good job, and if you guys can catch up with the interview,
I have one of them. I have one of the Tubby Hayes.
Yeah, their work with Tubby Hayes is phenomenal, right, Brandon?
Yeah.
It's really good.
Well, I'm hopeful that at some point I can put my 2 cents in on some British reissues.
Oh yeah, no, I got some stuff here that I'm going to be showing later, but yeah, no, definitely, it's.
I want to send Casper a message, say please. There's a few that really need to be re-released.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, look, I'm solo here, man. I got it, Easy now. We choose.
What was this?
I'm by myself here. Look, please type it again. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. Yeah. So Analog October, they did a fantastic job. I mean, Craig is a really passionate guy. They're working very close with Casper. I think it's going to be really good. I can't wait to have my copy. They should be coming out in about a month from now.
Vinyl Wayne Shorter's Schizophrenia is really great.
Yeah.
Anything of Shorter from that period is worth getting.
Yeah. It's
from
great.
Like 64 to 69 on Blue Note.
It says 42nd or 100 series brand. Do you remember Schizophrenia?
I don't remember. I have it here. I mean, I can find it.
Yeah. I don't have a copy. I have a few that I kind of passed on because the covers are so beat up. I said, you know what, I'm just gonna wait for the Tone Poets. Yes. Yeah. So Carlos, that Monkey by Gearbox, I don't have that copy, but Chris has it and he loves it. Yeah.
Schizophrenia is 84297.
297. Yeah. So it's like, is it Liberty already? Not even.
Yeah. At this point, it's Liberty.
It's Liberty. Yeah.
I think it's 68 if I remember right.
Yeah. No, yeah, it is 68 or 69. It's correct, random.
Mm-hmm. But it's worth getting if you like any of the Shorter from that period. It's got James Spaulding, Curtis Fuller plays trombone, Herbie Hancock, Ron Carter, and Joe Chambers. So you've got a pretty great like post-bop group there.
Yes. Yes, it's very like traditional period, like post pop. Yeah, for sure, for sure. And the John Patton also came out today, right?
The which one?
The John Patton. Let me get a copy. I have the OG here. I don't have the Tom Poet yet. This guy here, let him roll.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get that because I have a copy, but it's kind of beat up.
Yeah, this is really good. Big John Patton, let him roll. This is 4239. Yeah, that's the OG. It's still New York pressing.
Mhm.
Or maybe they're using the New York labels by then. I don't know, but it has.
I think it's 66, but so they're still using New York. They're using New York labels, and they've left the Plastilite plant. They're now owned by Liberty, but they're still using New York labels on the 66.
Yeah. So Grant Green, Bob Hutcherson, Otis Finch. It's phenomenal. This record is probably one of my favorites. Big John Patton, and Wayne Shorter is a big name, but in this duo that came out on this last batch of Tom Poets, I think it's also like neck and neck with the Wayne Shorter record. It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
So highly recommended.
Yeah, I think I like that one, and I forget the name of the white cover that's got the photographs.
Oh yeah.
I'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but her dress looks like the Sam Rivers record, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's the same model though.
No, just the patterns on the.
But the fashion of it is very groovy.
Yeah, like the Pete La Rocca, it's kind of the same pattern they use on the cover, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So please be easy on us on the comments. I mean, we're kind of.
I never look at the comments, so tonight's the first time where I'm like,
No, I'm trying here to see if there's many people in the waiting room and. So Courtney Pine, it says so Jazz Maniac. The Courtney Pine, I'm gonna put a link here on October. It's his first record in 1986. I just put it right here. I'm gonna just dig in on the Journey to the Urge Within. Which I mean, you can go to any store and find an OG like US or UK.
Mm-hmm. It's not a very expensive record.
No.
You should be able to find. If you find it, it's usually around $12.
Yes. But if you look at if you take a peek at the video we shot with Craig from the label, and with Casper that mastered the record, they did a really good job. I think they enhanced parts that were like kind of buried in the mix or the presentation of the record was first done. So I think we're gonna have a very very good surprise there. I'm really hopeful that they do a great job. I mean, both the label and the pressing plant, and the mastering facility, they're so passionate about what they do. I think they're not going to do anything like subpar. I think it's going to be amazing, and I really praise them for that too. My opinion. So bringing out more releases that are not US only, that are more European from a more like not like super late, like 60s, 50s or whatever, more like contemporary. And I think it's good. They're expanding the palette and going from there, right, Brandon? What do you think?
Just listening to the. You mean listening to what do I think of Gearbox?
Yeah, Gearbox, and I mean what they're doing now. Analog October, Gearbox, the Courtney Pine, bringing more contemporary titles, different kind of sound, European, not necessarily American.
Well,
post bop.
I think isn't that Analog October? That's his first thing. So he's really a record shop, and that's his first foray into the thing. But it sounded to me like what Gearbox was doing with Casper is he was finding these sort of hard to find British jazz, mostly from the 60s.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the area that interests me the most. So, they did do that Tubby Hayes box set where I have one of the records that's out of that. It's the live session. with the red cover. That's the only one I picked up. But there's a lot of really cool stuff that I like Joe Harriet, Tubby Hayes. So I'm interested in what they're going to do more with the new British releases that they're going to do from the reissues of the 60s stuff.
I mean,
it sounded like he was able to get, the tapes and do a really good job with them.
So for the first release, and I think for the second, so they reached out to Universal, the Arrow Mountain or whatever. They didn't ship in the tapes. They sent him a very high resolution transfer.
For the Courtney Pine.
Yeah, so they transferred it back to tape, and then that's how they cut it.
Right, but what I was saying is he was able to get the tapes for a lot of those other British 60s stuff that was done, not the Courtney Pine, but he did say that he took the digital, he put it back into tape and then cut the lacquer from the tape.
Yes.
So he cut it from analog tape from the digital. Was the original that he got from them, because they wouldn't send the tape.
No. I think once you get like more consistent, they be more allowing to send tapes and stuff like that. So so I have some examples here of Gearbox records that I got this week. This is a really cool one, Ancient Future by Dwight Tribal. You guys seen this one?
No.
Man, this is really good. This sounds amazing. It's a more like groovy and the funk, a little bit R&B, but jazz. It's very like open, experimental. I really like this record. If you guys want to check it out, highly recommend. Dwight Tribal, Ancient Future. It's a really good one. Really, really good one. Yeah. So what else you got this week, Brandon?
Well, I missed last week, so I'll go through what I picked up. So I got 2 weeks. Oliver Lake. This is the one on Arista. It is Point from Which Creation Begins. And it's fairly inexpensive. I believe it was $15 for a really clean copy. These Aristas have lots of deals. The band is it switches up a little bit, but you've got Oliver Lake playing a bunch of instruments, Charles Bobo Shaw on drums, Don Moya on conga, Richard Martin on guitar, and John Hicks on piano, and Joseph Bowie on trombone. So you've got some of the you've got quite a mixture of sort of free musicians, but it's actually more, it has a lot of African influences. It's really good. Well, I don't look at the comments because I have it on a phone and I'd have to like look at it. I don't have like two screens. I'm not very fancy. Sorry. I tried to. It's not like I'm ignoring them.
Yeah,
okay, I picked up this Woody Shaw for $5. And it's a pretty cool live session. Check out the band. This one has Carter Jefferson on tenor, and then it has a bunch of people I don't know. It has Victor Lewis on drums, but Clint Houston is on the bass, and I don't know who that is. And the piano is Onaje Allen Gooms, who I'm not sure, but maybe some of you guys know this. Anyway, this is a great session for the Columbia Shaws from this period are often really inexpensive.
That's our really right now.
I picked up this Duke's Delight. This is an Inner City from, I believe, 1975. He's got a really good band on this. It's a hard bop record. Richard Williams on trumpet, Charlie Rouse on tenor, Duke Jordan on piano, Sam Jones on bass, and Al Foster on drums. So pretty killer. And it's kind of what it's what you kind of expect from Duke in this period. It's really good, often soulful, sweet. There's always a few ballads. Anyway, it's really good.
That's cool.
This is kind of one I didn't really know that much about. I know that Nat Adderley does have one record with Joe Henderson, a studio record, and I guess this would be the band. But this is a really cool live session, and fairly inexpensive. I think it was $10.
Yeah.
So Nat Adderley, obviously on trumpet, Joe Henderson on tenor, Joe Zawinul on piano, Victor Gaskin on bass, and Roy McCurdy on drums. So I'd pick this up. It's on Atlantic.
Wow.
It's a orange and black label.
It's amazing, Brandon. He has so many like Riverside records. I don't even think about his Atlantic production, right?
Right. He did do like a couple Atlantic, and Zawinul did some ones at the same time. So it's that late '60s period. Here's the Chico Hamilton Chico that a lot of people on this have picked up. Yeah. I found a really clean copy locally. Cecil McBee on bass, Richard Abrams on piano, Steve McCall on drums. Really cool. Great spiritual record. This was this had popped up at my local shop, and I had some credit. This is fantastic. Ironically, like a few days ago, I went to a local shop, and this was re-released by the Jazz Dispensary.
It just came out, yes.
And I could have saved quite a bit because this was $65, and the Jazz Dispensary was I think $29.
Yeah, $29, $30, yeah.
So, but it's okay. It's an original, nice, label.
Of course.
I'm fine either way, but I wouldn't have mind saving a little. But it sounds fantastic, and the band is Dejanet, obviously. He's on drums mostly on this, although I think he plays some piano. Benny Maupin on bass clarinet, John Abercrombie on guitars, of course, Dave Holland on bass, and Michael Fetterman on a metaphone, which to me sounded kind of like, or maybe it was a different, I think it sounded to me like a mellotron a little bit.
Yeah.
But if anyone knows what a metaphone is, you can correct me in the comments. Thanks for bringing the heat. I try to bring the heat.
Yeah, of course.
This is something I'd been looking for a while. This is Bob James on ESP, and it's kind of his free album. And most of people think of Bob James as like the Taxi theme and the CTI stuff he does on the roads. Super like funky melodic long up the keyboard scales, and this is sort of a very introspective, dark, kind of moody free jazz record, sort of free jazz. It's really just kind of dark and somber, which is something I really dig. R. Phillips on bass and Robert Posar, who I don't know, is on drums. So it's a trio, and it gets pretty cinematic. It sounds like some eerie parts of a thriller at certain parts, but it's really, to me, it's really soothing. I find this kind of music really relaxing.
That's pretty cool. So Brandon, just a quick break. We have a comment here from any thoughts on Chet Baker Sings and Plays? Did you get this one?
You mean the original?
The Tom Poach.
That was reissued?
Yes. There's Chet Baker Sings, and now I think it was in March or April, Chet Baker Sings and Plays, and this record is dirty cheap now. I think it's like $20. Did you get
you mean the one with the black and white cover with the writing?
Yes, like a cartoon, yes.
I've listened to that one on listening stations, and it never kind of took me in. I have a lot of Chet Baker, and that one didn't sort of get me. I like Chet Baker Sings.
I think I like this one. I have both, but I think Chet Baker Sings is more consistent. I think the material is like superior, right? The songs, the band. I mean, the whole setup just
it's confusing because there's so many Chet Baker's that have the title Chet Baker Sings
Yes.
on it, and then there's sort of the original Chet Baker Sings, and then this one's Chet Baker Sings and Plays. I do, I can't remember. I just remember thinking, it's fine, but I sort of had the Chet Baker thing covered quite a bit, so I didn't pick it up. I probably won't pick up the Tone Poet.
So yeah.
So I mean, I think I thought it was fine, but I didn't need more Chet because my Chet section is pretty big.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I got this one. I didn't have it. So just diverted from jazz for a second. Stunty. No, there's another one. This one here. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't.
It is a real shirt. I collect soccer jerseys. This is Gamba Osaka. Yes, I have some Japanese friends. They bring me jerseys sometimes. The only French jersey I have is Marseille Droit au Beach.
Okay. Which one are you wearing right now? I can't read it.
Gamba Osaka. It's from Japan.
Okay.
It's from the Japanese league. Yes.
Gamba Osaka.
Gamba Osaka, from Osaka. Yes.
I almost wore my Barca shirt, but I thought I'd get a bunch of shit.
I think another good one is it was a good start out for Woody Shaw. Brand.
How much money you got?
Well, Blackstone Legacy is coming out, right?
Yeah, Blackstone Legacy would be a good starter because it's going to be $40 for a double album.
Yeah.
So that would be pretty awesome to go to.
Oh yeah, I think it's a great deal.
The Woody Shaw on Contemporary is fairly inexpensive and really good. And yes, Robert Posar, I don't know him, but he's really good on. I'd been wanting this Bob James for a while because a lot of people don't know what Bob James did in the 60s as opposed to what they know him for in the late 60s, early 70s. And some people think he's kind of cheesy, but he did do this record with Bar Phillips and Robert Posar, and I've been looking for it for a while, and I didn't want, usually I'd see it and it would be like $40 plus shipping. And this was like a super clean copy locally for $20, so I picked it up. And I was pretty happy. And it's like a third pressing on ESP, and they would only like pull like 1,000 pressings from the lacquer, and so it's probably fairly. It sounds great.
Oh yeah.
What were you saying?
So what else you got?
Let's see.
Brennan has got a ton of Woody Shaws, I bet. But it's good. A few months ago, I had like a Blackstone Legacy in my hands. Like it was
a great one. I think it's hit up. It's getting close to $100 now, but Moon Train is really good.
Yeah.
Hopefully someone will reissue this one. It's Azar Lawrence, and his stuff. He's kind of Steve Turey on trombone, Buster Williams on bass, Cecil McBee on bass as well, Victor Lewis drums.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, should I keep going through?
Yeah, keep going. I have some more to show, but
this I couldn't resist. I saw a clean copy for $8, and I think this is my favorite of the Grover Washington's on Kudu. Mr. Magic. This is just a fun summer strings and horns and funk. It's a fun summer record.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many people on there. It's not even Bob James is on piano.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the Bob James produced ones.
I think if you like that kind of sound, any Kudu record.
Yeah, it's Kudu CTI. There's literally like 50 credits on this. Yeah. Oh, this is really cool. Dewey Redmond, Coincide, picked this up. It's really nice. I don't really know the band except for Leroy Jenkins on violin. It's got Cerrone on bass, Eddie Moore on drums. That's sort of the band. for most of it. But yeah, really, this is ABC Impulse, I think mid 70s. I can read it. 75. Really nice record. Pretty cool photos.
Oh yeah.
And some nice, I think he has has some nice poems in here too. And this is a great record if you guys want something pretty groovy and fun. I had a pretty beat up copy, so I found this for $8. Nice clean original. Jimmy Rainey on guitar, Steve Swallow on bass, Mel Lewis on drums, Richie Kamucha on tenor, and Gary McFarland on vibes. So it's pretty fun. And Steve Swallow is one of my favorite bassists. So I picked this up just to kind of replace my beat up copy. Oh, this is a cool one. Raul de Souza. Do you know him?
Raul de Souza.
De Souza. Souza. And
yeah.
he has another name that he goes by in Brazil. I think it's like
so that's
Trozino or something like that. Yeah. He has a different
nickname. Yes,
nickname. Yeah. But this is he's the trombonist, and this is sort of what you would expect. It goes from like elements of post bop to Brazilian elements. But check out the band; it's a really good band. Raul de Souza, Richard Davis on bass, Jack DeJohnette on drums, Snooky Young on trumpet.
Wow.
Jerome Richardson and Sahib Shihab on saxes. Obviously, Shihab would be on the baritone, and the guest soloist is Cannonball Adderley. So it's a pretty cool. It's a pretty cool record that's inexpensive, and it is milestone 75. And I picked it up today for $10. So kind of an enjoyable. I played it and I was like, oh, this is great. So. Oh, this was not quite as cheap, but I picked this up today. This is more a funk record, soul record.
Oh, that's nice.
Jan Hammer melodies.
What's the label?
It's pretty fun. This is the label is. I was noticing the label. It's called Nemperor, like emperor with an N in front of it. The year is 77. Which one? The
Raul de Souza.
The de Souza is.
I'm gonna search for that one too.
75. The Jan Hammer is 77, and the Nemperor is a subdivision of CBS, and it's got. Some of you will know these guys: Tony Smith on drums and lead vocals, Steve Kindler on violin, and Fernando Saunders on bass.
That's pretty cool.
This is kind of a fun. I'm still pretending it's summer, right? Because it's over.
So you got them all at the same store?
No. Today, yes, I got the two places at the same. Those both were from the same store. But no, most of these are from different places. This is my new favorite record. I'll take it out. This is not jazz, but this is Elizabeth Fraser's new album. Elizabeth Fraser is the lead singer of the Cocteau Twins.
Yeah.
And she's almost more famous for that Teardrop song from Massive Attack on Mezzanine. This is her with Damon Reese, who's a drummer from many bands. He was on Spiritualized for kind of their Ladies and Gentlemen, We Are Floating in Space record that was pretty famous. And this is just, they made this record and it's an EP. It's really cool. It's on yellow marbled vinyl. And it's just beautiful. If you like like 80s Kate Bush, sort of like before she did like the early or maybe even late 70s Kate Bush, like before the big hits. And when it was a little bit more minstrelly and stuff, it's good. It's a beautiful record. So I would highly recommend it. It's mostly acoustic. instruments. And unlike the Cocteau Twins, which is real trebly and kind of like guitars and drum machines, and this has a lot of bass in it, and it's really beautiful. I already showed that. Let's see, and I think that's it.
Okay.
That was my 2 weeks. Okay. And I got some other things out because Mike said to bring some stuff out, but I don't know if we're going to do that now.
Yeah. So I got a couple more. This one just came a few minutes, like 2 hours ago on Amazon. Anybody got this one? Brandon, you should get this record.
Joao? That's just it?
No, it's Bebel.
It's Bebel. Oh, it's about her dad, huh?
His daughter, yeah. So it's called João, about her dad. So here's the picture. They're both together.
Me and Trisha saw her.
Yeah. So it's quite interesting. I mean, she has a quite long, successful career. She's more like she puts like a pop kind of spin to her records, the production and everything. But she's a really good singer, more like Bossa Nova style, very like low voice, very like, not big voice, like a Gal Costa one or something like this. But it sounds very intimate. And I think here she really delivered. I mean, it's a record like with a tribute to her father, like paying homage and saying, you're gone. And she plays some of his biggest accomplishments, successes, but she doesn't.
When did that come out?
Like last week. Yeah. She doesn't try to sound like him or do the same thing, but it's an amazing, beautiful work. So if you guys like João Gilberto, Brazilian music, it's a must-have. It's a really well recorded. The record sounds good, so I recommend this record. So just catching up with Roberto. Okay. I don't know. Half an hour before the stream, everybody said I'm gone. Forget about me. You're by yourself. That's how it happened.
Whoever got independent service, I'm glad you like the Luis Gasca.
Yeah, it's a good one.
For those
right?
who chant, it's a really good record.
Yeah.
Anybody? I could go off on anything if anybody has any questions.
Yeah. So I
want to talk Mal Waldron or whatever. I don't care.
I have a couple more things to show. Since we're talking British, there's this label I think I mentioned in last week called Jazz Aggression, which is, to me, is like amazing name, right? If you want to make a label, make Jazz Aggression, and they are specialized in putting like obscure Northern European, British jazz. So when I saw the score, I said I have to buy it. Burt Curtis Quintet needs be. This thing is amazing. It's beautiful, beautiful record. The one that's behind me, the Mona Lisa one, it's also from them. Why should I point this way? Yeah. The Mona Lisa one is also really, really good. Jazz Aggression, Burt Curtis Quintet needs be. Jazz Aggression as a Norwegian label. Highly recommend. You guys should check them out. It's really good. Yeah, some parts are more traditional, some parts are more out there, but really well pressed, high quality, heavy records. Very flat. Can praise them high enough. Yeah. One more thing that came this week, finally, it was the Jason Moran.
Oh, cool.
This is really good. It's a limited press. It's a 300 press only. My number is a 285. So it's from Battlefield to the Dance Hall. No, sorry, from the Dance Hall to the Battlefield. So it's a project talking about war songs and Battlefield and dance hall songs, early jazz, teens, like 19 teens. It's beautiful recording. He gave an awesome interview to NPR on that record here. So if it's still available, you should get it. It's not cheap. It's not expensive. It's double record. Really, really great artwork and a beautiful piano playing, singing, everything. Jason Moran from Dance Hall.
Limited edition.
Yeah, the cover is
Great.
amazing.
Someone asked if I could show some British jazz. I've got my stuff a little disheveled, but if you give me a minute, I could probably find some stuff. But
yeah,
well, Felipe's doing.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, it'll take me a minute because I have things a little disorganized right now because I'm rearranging.
Yeah.
So keep going.
So, I have a couple more from today. This one, my local store, they put it on Instagram 2 days ago, and I asked them to place a hold. They held it for me. It's a classic record, the Strata East. I think, Bender, you know this one, right?
What is it?
Winter in America.
Oh, yeah.
Gil Scott-Heron and Brian Jackson. This is pure beauty. And some Strata East. I got this original pressing, like in a perfect shape. And I played like 3 times already this afternoon. It's such a great record. So beautiful. And so important, right? And if you see a Strata East, just grab it. They're so hard to find. It was not a cheap one, but I can't regret grabbing it. I really enjoying. Another record. I'm going to step out of jazz for a few seconds. I really want this. I found a UK OG with the original cover because it was censored and changed. But it's the Pills and Trills and Bellyaches, the Happy Mondays. Man, I really love this. As the rap would say, is a sneaker gazing record, sneaker gaze, and I really like this one. This is the original cover with all the American and British candy brands. That was censored, of course, because they didn't have any rights to do this. But I finally got my copy, and I really like this kind of stuff. And lastly, that's stuff I got this week. He's a French drummer. This record just amazing. I think I talked to a few people. Let me just go back to one thing. So Shoji, I'm kind of halfway through. I haven't watched the whole thing yet, but thanks for support. They left me under the bus, but that's fine. I'm gonna recoup from that. No, just kidding. I watched halfway through. I think it's phenomenal. Really well done. The interviews are great. I think the storytelling it's really compelling. Really well done, and I can recommend enough this documentary for anybody that's into jazz, into history of American music. Right? It's a must see. Hi, Caesar. So this record I got today. It was a random pick in my store. I put in the turntable there. I was like, dude, I gotta have it. Does anybody else have this one? He's a French drummer, Makaya McCraven. He lives in the US. Look at the cover. It's like a club. Looks like a club wall, bathroom, whatever it is. So I like the hype sticker. The hype sticker is just amazing. It's a kick-ass. Dire and dark, but eternally joyful quartet improvisation, captured raw to lo-fi tape, chopped into a heavy, heady progression of beats, blues, and psychedelic trance music. The title of the record is highly rare. And the last detail here, recorded live to 4-track cassette tape at Danny's Tavern in Chicago. Recorded live to 4-track cassette tape. That's kick-ass. The records sound really crappy. I mean, it's really muffled. I mean, they record to a cassette tape, but the energy of the music here is just like so unbelievable. It's just so great. I really enjoyed this. I bought it right away, and I can't stop playing this. It's really amazing. Right? So if you guys have any experience with Mackay McCraven Records or this label, which is International Anthem Recording Company, give us some feedback, because I was stunned. I was talking to a friend today, the Rev, and he was like, "Yeah, I have some of the International Anthems, a great label." He was actually my first pick, and man, this thing kicks ass. If you want something raw, like imagine like a punk band recording of of jazz. That's how it sounds like. It's so intense. It's so good. I can recommend this record high enough. So what's up, Random?
Okay, I'm a little disorganized, but I did find a few. So this is a good, fairly inexpensive on Jazzland, and it's called "The Message from Britain," and it's Tubby Hayes.
Oh yeah.
This is Tubby Hayes and Ronnie Scott. They're called the Jazz Couriers, but it's Tubby Hayes on tenor and Ronnie Scott on tenor, and then Terry Shannon on piano, who I don't know. Kenny Napper, and of course the funny one is Phil Seaman on drums. Dick Hyman and Phil Seaman. So we got Southern Horizons. This is more of a groovy record. It kind of looks like the cover. This is Joe Harriott, and he's a British sax player, and I really like him a lot. He has a record called Abstract that's pretty easy to find that I think is on. I wish I could remember the label. I think it might be on Columbia, but I'll find out. But this is pretty cool.
This is Jazzland, right?
Huh?
This one is
on Jazzland as well. It's Joe Harriott with Hank Shaw on trumpet, Harry South on piano. I do see Harry South's name quite a bit on British things, and Bobby Orr on drums, Coleridge Good on bass. Not household names. And this one is my favorite. This is Mike Taylor Trio. This is the one I hope that Casper at Gearbox sees this and decides to do this. It was originally on. It's impossible to find. This is like a Russian.
Even the CDs are rare, right?
The CDs are hard to find. Mike Taylor's a trio. He was kind of he had a lot of issues with alcohol and drugs. And he was kind of found by Jack Bruce. And Jack Bruce does play, actually, Jack Bruce plays bass on a couple tracks on here. So the personnel is Mike Taylor on piano, Jack Bruce or Ron Rubin on bass, and John Heisman on drums. So Jack Bruce sort of used his fame to help get Mike Taylor noticed. He only did 2 records on Columbia UK. He did Trio, which is epic. And he did another one, which is a quartet called Pendulum. And they're both on Columbia UK. And I've only seen someone I've only seen a copy once. This was an RSD of Mike Taylor that came out, I think, in like 2019. So this one you can all find, and it's got a cool booklet about him. And this has some stuff, some live stuff, and some stuff off of Pendulum. It's a really good record.
Cool.
And it's a really well.
The cover is amazing. The cover is amazing. So Brandon, stop the presses. How do you like the Tubby Hayes Gearbox?
I need to revisit it again. I thought it was pretty cool. It's a live show. It's one of those records I grabbed because it was Tubby Hayes, listened to about 3 times, and then it's somewhere in the basement. But I thought it was a pretty cool session. Maybe not as interesting as some of what Tubby Hayes does on his records for the live show, but it's still worth getting. And I think it was $28, so not like crazy expensive, but good sound.
Oh yeah.
I'll see if I can answer that question better next time, because I need to go find it.
Cool. So welcome, Dave, from My Own Devices channel. Dave has a really cool channel. He's a really expert in music and in gear. And thanks so much for joining. It's a pleasure to have you here.
All right, Felipe. Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, perfect. Yeah.
Good. I was I just joined in. I've been hanging out with my wife. She had to put in time with the wife. and so I got away. I was able to pull away from watching HGTV.
Oh yeah.
House,
So
House Hunters International.
cool. So did you get anything today, like records or CDs or what?
Yeah, I didn't really. I mean, the closest thing I got to jazz was this Bowie Black Star today, which he actually found the jazz when he was planning this record out in 2015. He was listening. I believe the story is there was a band playing in New York. I'm trying to remember the name of the band. There was a little like a quartet, I think. And he like started watching them, and he decided to pick this band as the backup musicians for this album, which was recorded in total secrecy. The whole band had to sign, non-disclosure agreements, and the producer Tony Visconti couldn't tell anybody, so nobody knew he was making another record. And at the same time, he was dying from cancer. You might already know the story.
Yeah.
And then this was released just a couple days before he passed away, I believe.
I think it showed up at our house. My wife had ordered it like the day after he died.
Right.
And we were all freaked out. So
yeah, I mean,
yes, yeah,
that was one of those deaths that really affected me, because it was the first concert I ever went to was a David Bowie concert at Madison Square Garden, and for the Station and Station tour. And I was like 15 years old, I think. My parents finally let me go to a concert, and had shitty seats. I don't know if you know the Garden, but you can sit behind the stage.
Oh yeah.
And above. So I was off to the left of the stage, looking down on him. So I just pretty much saw his back the whole concert. And anyway, so the first albums I ever bought were first album I ever got for a present was David Live, that 1974 release. So that was like a greatest hits, and that really turned me on to all his records. This is not brand new. It's been opened already, so it was only $20. It seems to be in pretty good condition. But it's a really haunting, spooky album.
It is.
Especially knowing, what ended up, the whole background behind it.
Yeah.
It is. It's pretty hard. It's not an everyday listen for sure.
Yeah.
So anyway, so it's kind of jazzy, as you know. I'm sure you've heard it. And it's got a little bit of improv-y kind of sound to it. It's kind of loose. The band is kind of loose. And Bowie's voice has really changed over the decades, from a very high, kind of a high-pitched kind of sound, kind of even a constrained kind of voice when he first started out, to his register just got deeper and deeper, and he totally changed the way he sang. And those last couple albums, he was really very much different approach to singing. He never really went up into those higher registers, and only occasionally on some of the later albums, when he sort of maybe was mimicking how he used to sing. Sometimes he used to sing with a very strong London accent. Sometimes he put on this very, he's from South London, so he used to put on that accent sometimes.
Yeah, it's not that he couldn't hit the notes either. He still
No,
could hit those
I
notes.
think it was a choice. Yeah.
I mean, he
It was, and I'm sure living in New York for that long, his accent sort of dissipated.
But I bought all his, back in the day. I saw him twice. I saw him again after the Scary Monsters tour, during that tour. And that album Stage, that live album, that was from that tour. And my friend saw him at the Tower Theater concert in '74. And he always used to talk about that, because he lived in Philadelphia. I went to college in Philadelphia, so I knew where Sigma Sound was and all that. So anyway, I was a big Bowie fan, and still am. And there's a meme or something that says, after David Bowie died in January 2016, the whole world went to crap.
It sort of did.
I think artistry is gone, in a sense, right? That's how it sounds.
Yeah, I have all of Bowie stuff on vinyl, pretty much. Even except for a couple.
I've got most of it. I've got Earthling and Heathen and some of those later ones. I never got into Tin Machine.
No.
I tried. I had the Tin Machine cassette tapes. I can enjoy them.
I tried to get into them, but it didn't work.
Yes, he was having a midlife crisis, obviously. I was an illustrator for many years, for 20 years. And I lived in London and in England for 9 years, 9 of those years. And I did pretty well. And I was had an agent, and I had the same agent as George Underwood. And George Underwood was David Bowie's one of his best friends throughout his whole life. And I hung out with George at his house once, and George did a bunch of album covers. He had that Main Artery studio where he did the Hunky Dory and Ziggy Stardust album.
Yeah.
I think he did a T-Rex album. He did those Fix albums, those Reach the Beach album covers, those things.
Oh yeah.
And he's still around. He still does work, and he's done a bunch of stuff. And one day in '97, I was at my agent's, and George walked in, and I said, "What's going on, George? What's going on?" "Oh, I'm about to fly to New York." And I said, "For what?" "Well, it's David's 50th birthday, and he's flying me over there to celebrate his birthday." And I thought that was very cool that George got to fly to London, to New York, just for David Bowie's 50th birthday. I thought that was my little brush with the stars.
Yeah.
But George is a cool guy.
Yeah.
And he lived in Hampstead, in North London, which is a nice part of. He was neighbors with. Who was he neighbors with? One of the Pink. It was either maybe David Gilmour was his neighbor, I think. And anyway, it was very cool living in London. I got to meet quite a few people, and I did some work for the band The Beautiful South, which was a kind of a spin-off of the House Martins. I did a couple of their album covers, and got to go to live concerts for free, get backstage passes. And backstage was always some celebrities, so I got to rub shoulders with people like that, which was pretty cool. And I almost did a couple other album covers. I think Big Head Todd. Remember Big Head Todd and the Monsters? Todd actually called me to do one of his album covers, but we couldn't agree on an idea. He didn't go for my ideas, so we didn't do it. And then Tapao, I met up with Tapao, and that Bridge of Spies album, and once again they didn't like my ideas. They both bands went with photographs in the end. I mean, illustration album cover illustration was kind of dying off by the late '90s. It was pretty much gone to photography by then. Yeah,
I think the album covers, I mean, they were the biggest selling point, right, for records. You had to go to the store and see a cover.
Well, that was a big marketing expense. The record companies were very willing to spend good money.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the '90s, early '90s, when I was doing this stuff, I would get 20 grand, 30 grand to do an album cover. It wasn't just one cover. It was for a CD booklet, I'd have to do multiple images. But I would get T-shirts. They would put my images on T-shirts, and I would get paid for that. And every time they release a single and they use one of my images on the single, I would get paid for that. So it worked out very well.
Yeah.
But by the mid, the last album cover I did was 2005 or 2006, and I got $800. So by then the budgets were nil. Maybe it's coming back now, but
no, it's not.
Yeah. I mean,
people are shooting stuff on phones.
Yeah. So the album covers, they started getting big in the early 50s when the 12-inch came out, right? The micro groove. So that became the biggest selling point, because before that, the 10 inches, 7 inches, or whatever they were selling, they just put in like cardboard sleeves, right?
Yeah.
So, and in the 50s, they realized they have a full record that's just the photography to make covers, nice fonts and drawings to start selling. That's how the whole thing started, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same with book covers. I used to do a lot of book covers too. You went to a bookstore, you went to a record store, and you looked on the racks. And had you ever bought a record based on the cool album cover?
Oh, look at this metal covers,
Have
like
I?
the 80s especially. I mean, the covers are amazing, those monsters and stuff, and you play the record.
I used to just go to I mean, there would be there's no internet, so I would just buy anything by 4AD because I like the covers.
Yeah, those are excellent. I also was friends with James Marsh, who did those Talk Talk albums.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Color of Spring and Spirit of Eden and the Party's Over and all those album covers. So, and I actually had an art gallery here in Florida, and the idea was to have an illustrator's art gallery, and I said, well, when we do an illustration, we do the artwork, we send it to the client, but the client, we own the artwork, and we own the copyright. We're just selling the use of the image, so we usually get the artwork back.
Mm-hmm.
So then Illustrator, you're doing a lot if you have mountains of paintings in your house. And some of them are really nice. And so I said, why don't I open an art gallery where I feature really cool illustration art, original illustration art. So George Underwood sent me some work, and David Juniper, the guy who did the cover of Led Zeppelin 2, and in the Gatefold, he sent me work. A bunch of really, James Marsh sent me a bunch of work. I had piles of artwork, and I was there's other well-known artists. My friend Paul Slater, he did that album cover too. OMD. What's the album? One with the man and the woman in the car.
I only know the more abstract covers. Architecture and
no, there's one there was a painting of a young man.
Oh,
sitting in
it's
the
like
car.
it's a tribute to the Edward Hopper. Is that the one? Yeah. I don't know that. I don't know the album, but I remember the cover as
Edward I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, my friend Paul Slater had a preliminary painting of the one he did before the finished one that the band used, and he sent me that in the gallery, and I had that up on the wall. It's very similar. It's not exact. There's some changes he did, but one guy walked in one day and he goes, "Oh my God, that's the OMD cover," and he bought it right off the bat. That was pretty cool. But
he was apparently he was a fan.
Oh yeah, I was a huge OMD fan. Yeah, that's why I bought it. But anyway, that's my story of being in the music industry. I have personal history in it. It was pretty cool. It was a good fun times in the 90s. 90s were the last hurrah of where albums sold and CDs sold, and there was money to be made from my end of things. And it all died, and so did my illustration career by the mid 2000s, 2005, 2006. It was
Crush.
Pretty much
was the name
Crush.
of that.
That's right, Crush.
Yeah.
Jim Levinson just let us know.
Yeah, I couldn't remember off the top of my head. I've got the album. It's in my other room though. But anyway, that's my little story that I thought I'd share. I was also at a record store this week, and I guess some guy had a collection that he got rid of, and these albums are dirt cheap, $5, and I forgot how actually good this band is, and this is my favorite album of theirs.
What's that?
It's UB40's first album.
Okay.
UB40's first album called Signing Off. It was never released in this country.
Right. And that's the UB40 form.
And that's the unemployment benefits form that you got. And they named themselves, this is from 1980, during the Thatcher years. And they hated Margaret Thatcher. So they thought this would be a good, because of, she was creating a lot of austerity and a lot of unemployment. And so this is the name of the band. They call it the UB40, and this is and it's an amazing album. It's kind of dub reggae kind of stuff. It's really cool. It wasn't very popish like they got on the Labor of Love album, but they never released it in the United States. So I've got another copy of Portuguese, and I've got this one's an Italian import, and it's 2 records. There's a 33 and a 45 inside. And I haven't listened to the 45 yet, but this is a cleaner copy than my Portuguese one, so I picked this one up for $8. And then we got Jeffrey Morgan, $5.
Wow.
$5. And a couple compilations. Here's a compilation. And this is a double compilation. This is a Dutch. This is a Dutch import double. These are kind of like 12-inch singles compiled on the double album. But if you're not familiar with UB40, I know I have the Labor of Love album, but I don't have it handy.
Are they still active? I think they are, right?
They what?
I think they're still active, right?
Yeah, they could be, yeah. I mean, they're from Birmingham, England. And it was kind of like a, multicultural kind of band, like a lot of ska and reggae was in England, like the Specials or what's the other one? What's another ska band from England? The Specials and
what? The ska bands?
Yeah.
Well, there's a bunch.
Right.
I mean, like the Beat?
The big ones.
The English Beat?
English Beat, yeah, a little later, yeah.
You mean like the Selector or
Selector?
Madness?
Madness, yeah. Madness were kind of popish, a little bit of ska, yeah.
Their early stuff was they went sort of pop when they did the Our House.
Yeah. But I'm that age where that 80s stuff was I was in my 20s during the 80s, and that's when I really got into a lot of music back then. And whenever I see some 80s albums, I try to pick them up. And UB40 is one of these bands. I think they're underrated today, and the records are dirt cheap. You can pick them up for $5.
Yeah, that's how I feel about the 80s, right, Dave? It's like everything is really well recorded, produced. Perhaps there's too many like saxophones or shoulder pads on the songs, but everything else sounds amazing.
Sometimes the production was a bit much. I mean, I've got an Al Di Meola album from the '83, and it's 83, and it's just too electronic. It's just
the Linn drums, right?
The Linn drum, and just the production is very sparkly, and bright. And but a lot of '80s albums are usually pretty clean.
Yes.
'70s albums can be really beat to shit, but '80s albums, I'm very lucky with '80s albums. They're usually, Kate Bush albums are usually pretty clean. Even those beat, the English Beat or the Beat albums are usually clean. I got some Waterboys albums, very clean. So that's my wheelhouse.
Yeah, there's a record I showed them. The In Excess albums, they sound really good. There's another one.
The Waterboys, This Is the Sea is a really
Yeah, I think I've got all their albums now.
Well-made album. That's probably my favorite of theirs.
So I went on a road trip this past summer where I drove up to. Did I tell you the story last week? No, probably not.
No, I don't think so.
I drove up to Rhode Island from Florida. It's a bit of a drive. And I went through Charlotte. I went to Noble Records, met Dylan, picked up a few albums there. Went to Lunchbox, went up through Maryland to the place called Hub City Vinyl in Maryland, which is an amazing record store. So I went to some. I picked up a couple Waterboys album in Dover, New Jersey at Factory Records. I did really well. I picked up about 40 albums on my trip. I visited about 20-something record stores. And there's nothing more annoying than going into a record store you've never been in before, and you just imagine all the possibilities. Oh my God, this could be the place, right? And then you walk out with nothing because it's a bunch of garbage in there.
When it happens.
Yeah. You want to see a cool Margaret Thatcher cover? This one here.
Is the
Oh yeah.
That's the 7-inch for women in uniform. Sanctuary. That's Sanctuary. Sanctuary Drifter.
I mean, some people actually, that's cool. Some people actually believe she was the devil, sent from the devil, because she was.
Yeah. I mean, and some people thought she was fantastic.
Yeah. But anyway.
Elvis Costello didn't like her.
Listen, I lived there in the mid '80s as well. I lived there I had a 2-year stint and then a 7-year stint, so 9 years altogether. And and there was a show on TV called Spitting Image where they had those very brutal-looking latex puppets.
Oh yeah,
and they made Margaret Thatcher. They always made her very cold-hearted, very masculine character. If you ever watch The Crown, what's her name? Gillian Anderson does a great impression of her.
I bet.
Yeah, she did. Yeah. I'm just trying to find one more here. So these are some really good sounding records from the 80s, Dave and Brandon. This record sounds amazing.
Oh right.
It's a really good sounding record.
I have that on CD.
Yeah, you guys might tease me, but this record also has a great sound.
Oh,
right.
I'm sorry. I don't care how good it sounds. I'm not buying.
And this one I bought from Brandon actually is a German pressing. It sounds like they're here. You can hear like the air on the drums when they hit the drums. This is a really
nice.
Good, yeah. And Carlos, I actually have the latest Dylan record. I'm just trying to find exactly where it is in my shelf here, but I have it. It does a really good job. So lucky, I have access. I have a DA license, so I got a really good chemicals there. They're gone. They are.
He's
gone.
also known as the cleaner.
Yes. I pull and clean.
I gotta check something out here.
Oh, hello.
Yeah. So what you guys excited about? So Brandon, I don't know if you have a pressing of that, and I'm still about to get the classic series. It's a record that I never thought I would enjoy or like, but I've been streaming nonstop. Unit Structures. Do you have it?
I have a let's see which copy I have. I think it's a Black Bee.
Yeah.
My room seems kind of dark and dingy.
I'm really getting into that, and I need to get a copy.
I'm more of a fan of Conquistador, which is the other one that came out around this time. But I have a Black Bee.
Yeah. So how do you like it, the music?
I can't say I love this record.
It's weird, right?
Yeah, it's not that it's weird, because I like a lot of Cecil Taylor that's weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a record that doesn't really. I mean, Conquistador, I guess, is kind of, people might say it's equally as weird, and I really like that record. So I just can't say I love Unit Structures. It just didn't jive with me that much. Because people have said, like, a lot of people like it, but
yeah. I mean,
know you're back on jazz, but I just want to show my 80s. All right, these are OGs.
Mm-hmm.
Got the top. These are not easy to find. They're not expensive, but they're not easy to find.
Switch me to Dave. Felipe.
Yeah.
Pornography.
Oh yeah, pornography. Yeah, it's a great one.
The top. And Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these I got local record store. I don't remember the guy's name. I can't remember. He played with 9 Inch Nails, and he was a native of Jacksonville. And I think a family member brought his record collection to the record store I visit. And these Cure albums were in that record collection. Mm-hmm. So the guy from 9 Inch Nails, one of his side guys, these are his records.
Okay.
And I picked them up for like $20 each. So a pretty good deal.
Yeah, that's a good deal now. I think I sold Felipe My Boys Don't Cry.
Oh yeah, the OG, yeah, the first one. Oh yeah, the record song.
I had 2 copies, and he got the mint one.
Oh, and I've got Head on the Door somewhere, but I don't have it handy. Mm-hmm. So I got all the Cure albums on that one collection. That was very cool.
Yeah.
I already bought the reissues, but it was cool to get the OGs. And this is if you like Steely Dan, do you know who produced this?
Mm-mm.
Walter Becker produced this album.
Oh, okay.
Okay, cool.
It's called.
Hey, Nicole says Nicole's probably better talking about unit structures than me.
Yeah.
She said she's seen Cecil Taylor at least a dozen times.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your favorite, Nicole? What's your favorite Cecil Taylor?
I don't have many, but I own Peace Up there also, Brandon.
Yeah, that's the one I like. And then he has an early record on UA.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah. So the cool thing about Cecil Taylor, I mean, in the Henry Treadgill book, he says he jammed some concerts. He played with Cecil Taylor, but never recorded together. They were supposed to record it, but they never end up doing it. He said that Cecil Taylor would just come to the band and just say, "You just play in this note, this note, this note, this note," and that they had to figure out what to do, just like do whatever you like, but you can only play that note. So I think it's kind of a different approach. It's hard to follow. The Henry Treadgill said it took me a few concerts to kind of catch up with what the band was doing, what his intent was, but it worked in the end. So for me, Unit Structure is a record that I kind of push myself to, not to like it, but to try to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it's not something that you're gonna play for your family on a Sunday morning, but you got to be focused. I think just let it go, and it makes sense. Just like feeling the feeling, that's what what I think how it has to go.
From what I understand, Cecil Taylor was really into Bela Bartok, the classical composer.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Bartok a lot. So, I still am, I have a few of his other Cecil Taylors that I have a solo piano one, something about the mountain that I really like that I think is on Enja.
Yeah.
But I just never jived that much with unit structures. But it's one of those ones that's got a lot of notoriety. It's probably his most famous record for sure.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I think so. My relationship with the free jazz and more like avant-garde, this kind of stuff.
Yeah, Nicole says she loves Silent Tongues, the Berlin CD box set. Is that a lot? I'm guessing that's live.
Yeah, likely.
I think I know which one that is.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check on that for sure. No record. It's CD only. I believe so. Yeah, but I think it's. I wouldn't say it's an acquired taste. It's harder. You have to be more here or there. It's just like I've been trying to not force myself to be more open to different things.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been reading a lot of stuff, quite interesting. I think honestly, from what I'm getting, so people say, "Oh, jazz died in '65. The golden era of jazz was done in '65."
Mm.
I think that kind of jazz was actually tamed for sales and audience. I think jazz actually started after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it probably starts at
I mean,
65.
in
Or,
the
I mean, the stuff that I really like does.
yeah, in the way that musicians they felt more open to express their feelings, to be more artsy, to really push the boundaries, and to be like an art form. I
Mm-hmm.
think after the golden era was done in '65, that's when the things really started and started being more artistic.
Mm-hmm.
So from an artistic standpoint, I would say jazz actually started in '65.
Right. I mean, my favorite Blue Notes are like Joe Henderson, Andrew Hill,
Hmm.
Wayne Shorter, Herbie Hancock, all like from like 64 to
Yeah,
72.
yeah.
Uh, who else?
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
Sam Rivers, all that sort of post bop modal jazz that's in
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
pocket to me is like where it all starts to really gel. And then the stuff in the 70s is,
Hmm.
it just keeps going from there.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, there's definitely times when the three sounds is kind of the perfect thing to have for
Oh,
an
yeah,
afternoon. You're just like,
that
I
is
just want
no,
to
that's
chill.
great. That is great, Ben. Yeah, yeah. No, for
But at
sure.
the same time, some people will be like, uh, something that sounds like noise to somebody.
Hmm.
So there are certain, stuff that might be considered free or kind of odd or
Hmm.
offbeat.
Yeah.
There's plenty of out there like this, for example, like that Bob James on ESP. I mean, it's
Mhm.
relaxing to me.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of the what some people consider noise is pretty soothing to me, even
Hmm.
if it's someone just plucking on the inside of a piano. I'm
Yeah.
pretty into that.
I mean, I think it's just like artistic expression, right? I mean, um, again, going back to that point. So
I mean, if the instrument makes the sound, it's supposed to be,
exactly.
it's a sound that the instrument's supposed to make.
Yeah, I think it's a very like Henry Treadgill approach. Like, just try. He was playing hubcaps, right?
Yeah.
Right at some point. That sounded amazing. Is I think it's experimenting, open the boundaries, and up to 65, 66 when labels are still lucrative. They're selling clubs and stuff. They had to be more like tailored to the audience. And I think after that, with the whole racial, social, political turmoil the country was going through, right? I'm talking about U.S. jazz, of course, but people felt more compelled to express themselves, express their reality, their mindset, everything. So, uh, the electric instruments are coming along as well. So I think it was a perfect storm for everything to be better expressed, and just open it up. We don't have to follow any rules. Just do whatever, like whatever
Yeah.
goes through our minds. And
Well,
I
I
think
don't, yeah. And I don't want to pick, because there's stuff I like from probably from like 1955 to now in jazz. But the pocket that I really like is that 65 to 75,
mhm,
in jazz, maybe 64 to 75.
yeah,
Um, just that I find that there's so much stuff in that time period that I really like.
mhm.
Um, when I picked my real favorites, a lot of times they're in the late 60s or early 70s.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Explosions.
Explosions.
I'll find it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Agree too, Mark. I think it's all artistic expressions. And Mark and John Bandy, I think Labor Day weekend, summer is over. Everybody's coming back. Thank you guys for joining again. It's a pleasure.
So this is a different, Mark. So he also did. Let me find this other one. If it's this one, we're lucky. No. All right, I'll see if I can find it. There's Resonance did a Bob James trio, and I think it might even be a double LP. And it's some stuff he did like in 64 and 65. And it's nothing like what you would think of as Bob James, the CTI stuff. And it's actually more like if you like Don Friedman trio, the stuff they did on Riverside, maybe even a little Steve Kuhn type stuff. It's really good. And I think it's just called Bob James 1964 to 66 or 64 to 65. But I'll find it. That's one of the reasons I was looking for Explosions. And like Paul Bley has a really good ESP called Closer. That's also a trio record. So I'm always looking for trio records that are pretty dark and stark and a little depressing, but to me that's really kind of calming and comforting. And that's sort of what Explosions is kind of like that. I think Explosions is not a very accurate, maybe it should be called Implosions or Aneurysms or something like that.
So Shoji, I agree with you. I think those records, they kind of lay the foundations for what would come next. They kind of set some approaches and tones for what would come in the second. They were ahead of their time for sure. I think
they were before,
right?
Yeah, I mean, Shape of Jazz to Come is, but I mean, it's not that things don't sit outside of that 64 to 75. It's just these records all shaped what would become the records that I like the best.
Yeah, of course.
Can I interject?
I mean, I have all those records that are listed on that, and I'm not getting rid of them. It's just the records that I reach for more. I mean, I will play I Love Supreme and My Favorite Things probably at least once a year at the very minimum. It's just like something I pull out, but I will probably play, I will play like Maiden Voyage more than that, or I will play any, all the Joe Hendersons after 65, and stuff like that, or Sam Rivers probably more often. But,
Dave?
Well, we were talking about the 80s earlier. What happened to jazz in the 1980s?
I wish Notes and Tones was here. There was I feel like there was the ECM thing was doing sort of like kind of going into like a little bit of experimental, bringing in like the you had Pat Metheny working with Steve Reich doing stuff that was really kind of like rhythmic but sort of minimal. The ECM thing was definitely getting more into stuff that is borderline classical in certain ways, like very intellectual. It seemed I remember in the 80s, like ECM seemed like if you had ECM records, you were really smart. There was something about them that was, and it was a little snooty in a certain way, but
I just remember Flim and the BBs and Kenny G.
Well, there's the Kenny G, but that was like on the radio. That was like there's the smooth jazz like Dave Sanborn and stuff that was on the radio.
Ira Gyra, is that 80s?
Just late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
There was like the jazz that was on the radio that was on like the Quiet Storm stations.
Mm-hmm.
That was the pop jazz, but then there was some really interesting you know, I don't want to say art jazz or anything like that, but if there was yacht rock was like you know, what Michael McDonald or something like that, then I think yacht jazz would have been like ECM and like something much more you know, someone like instead of someone drinking beer on a boat, it would be like someone with like a cocktail and
absolutely, yeah,
you know, and some Grey Poupon.
Yeah,
right, at some kind of club or something, right?
Just no, more like the professor, like the English professor.
Yeah,
you know, the philosophy professor.
Yeah,
I wasn't into jazz in the 80s at all. I went down the new wave and then into the blues. Blues had a huge revival in the 80s, where, you know, Alligator Records were putting out lots of releases, and I remember watching, you know, blues festivals and you know, seeing Albert King at blues festivals and all that stuff. It was really made and John Lee Hooker puts out The Healer and all that stuff. So to me that was, you know, the
jazz band I really liked in the 80s was the Lounge Lizards with the
Lurie
Brothers and Mark Ribot. I think you're on mute, Mazzy. Are you on mute?
No. Hello. Testing.
Hey, Mazzy, welcome to the stream.
The Lounge Lizards was like.
Can you hear me?
So Mark Ribot was the guitarist that played on all those great Tom Waits records, like Swordfish Trombones, Rain Dogs, and Frank's Wild Years.
Right. We had Herbie Hancock with Rocket and that.
Well, oh yeah, but that was almost like that was like electronic almost.
Yeah, I mean, Herbie was an engineer. He's always like pushing the boundaries and try to exploit.
But there was some pretty cool. The Lounge Lizards were cool because they had like, you know, it was a jazz band that was playing like some pretty hard stuff, and then Mark Ribot would just come in with like a distorted, overdriven guitar and just go off, but not like, you know, not like Al Di Meola or something like that. It would be like full on esoteric, just like cool dissonant guitar that would just trip out.
That first Lounge Lizards record is so good, produced by Teo Maceo on, you know, did the
Teo Maceo.
It's on EG Records. That first one, there's an amazing version of Harlem Nocturne on that album.
Yeah, that record's great. And then the Big Heart Live in Tokyo, which has some of the stuff on it, is really good.
Yeah,
I have both of those on still that I bought in high school.
Yep.
You're very Mazzy. You should turn up the volume if you can.
How do I do that?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Speak louder.
Whoa, testing.
Speak louder.
It's like a top story tonight.
Hello.
For the hard of hearing.
Maybe because I've been on this is my third stream today. So.
Oh my gosh.
Your horse.
Yeah. The Westman stream was pretty good, Mazzy. I like that one.
I had I don't know where all the other bums are, but I had dinner early this week with Mike. Tones and Poems.
So just readdressing some stuff here. Mike and Chris are gone. Rob is gone. Notes and Tones survived, and he's running from the Repo guys because he bought so many records with Rob today.
Yeah, well, Mike is doing the tour with his daughter, the college tour. So, but we had a great. We hung out one evening in Seattle Tuesday, I think, whenever it was. It was great. I love meeting him. That's the fun part of this. When you've met someone virtually and you meet him in person, it's kind of like you've known him. You know a little bit about him. Probably more than a dating site. Not that we're dating, but you know what I mean. It was great. It was good.
It was funny.
I met a photographer friend that way.
I was like,
now we're like best friends, but it was pretty funny.
Yeah. So back in June, I met the Rev at the Atlanta airport. I was having a long layover there.
I don't want to be big. Come straight here.
So back in June, I met the Rev. I was having a long layover in Atlanta. I mean, he lives in Atlanta, right? That guy is tall. I never figured he's so tall.
Tall?
Yeah.
The Rev is?
The Rev, yeah. It doesn't show on the screen, right?
You'll feel good when you meet me, Felipe. I'm not tall. You'll feel very tall.
Are you going to be in New York in October?
I think I will. I'm
Maybe.
making plans. Yes, I'm making plans.
I'm 5'11", average. So
yeah, but no, it should be fun. It should be fun. So, did you get any jazz this week, Mazzy?
I'm sorry.
Did you get any jazz this week?
Well, it's funny. I did a video this morning on these Morphine records. I know it's not jazz, but I love Morphine.
There's saxophone.
Yeah. Oh, there's deep saxophone, and it's got a little out there jazzy affectations, and I love them. And I realized the one album I'm missing is Yes, their second or third album. And I went online today. The cheapest one is $75 or $100. So I go to tonight, this afternoon. I was at.
You can have mine for $80.
Well, I'm at Easy Street today. They had 2 copies of this for $45. This is the Run Out Groove.
Oh, Run Out Groove, yeah.
What's Run Out Groove mean? Is that just a reissue?
Run Out Groove is the label. Remember, you used to vote. They narrowed it down to 3 records.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
They did several of these albums. Morphine. They did Secret Machines records. They're basically they're not part of Kraft. I forgot who they're part of.
But it's a reissue of
Yeah. Totally.
So they did it but they must have done it 10 years later?
Well, this one is 2018.
Oh, okay.
But they did the other ones. But what people would vote on them, and they have the extra tracks like this Japanese singles and stuff. But I literally almost ordered this morning for $75, and I.
You ordered that actual copy?
I almost did, and then I thought I'll wait and then I went to Easy Street and they had 2 copies when it came out for $45. So there we go.
I found Yes for 50 cents at a thrift store a couple of weeks ago.
There you go.
The CD.
And I got 2 out of the 3 of these Kevin Gray cut Meters records. So.
Mine on the way. So this label, they have a lot of Kevin Gray records, including the Ida James.
It's funny. This store, Jackpot Records, is in Portland. It's not a very good store. It's kind of
sucks.
Right. But they do. I was on a stream today, on Westman stream, and Kevin Gray brought these up, and I knew about them. Mm-hmm. And these are the only 2 I don't have original.
Well, their records have not. I think this is a new thing for them doing analog.
Well, they did. Dr. John was analog about 4 or 5 years ago. So, but their store is not very good. I agree with you. I don't like.
A lot of the stuff. I don't think when they did all those Wipers ones, they weren't analog. They were just.
These are, and Kevin brought these up.
Yeah, I know. They got Kevin Gray, the man who never stops working.
Right. For now. Yeah. This is a record I bought.
Don't forget Zorn.
Oh God, yeah. I want to do a video on albums I bought only because of the cover for $10 tonight. I bought this because you're a photographer. You've heard of Jay Maisel?
Yeah.
Well, Jay Maisel did this cover, and I've never seen this photograph. It's $10. But look at this
Ruby Braff.
Oh,
I didn't know Jay Maisel was that old.
I did not either. Well, I know he was older than I'm 69, and he's probably.
He must have been really young because I have that record, and I have a couple of Ruby Braff records.
Is this any good?
It's Ruby. It's.
I bought it because of the cover, and then I look in the back, and it's Jay Maisel photograph.
It's such a cool cover.
It's such a great cover.
I always think of Jay Maisel as his bright, colorful, like landscapes of industrial landscapes.
Well, like Pete Turner, who did all the CTI stuff.
Well, yeah, but Pete Turner's more Pete Turner went to Africa, and Pete Turner's stuff is more human.
Yeah,
the people, even when it's a place, it seems more personal.
Well,
Maisel's stuff seems very, very industrial, so that seems very cool.
Well, he bought that. Remember that corner building in New York? He bought like for $60,000 and just sold it like for 18 million or something. Anyway, I just love. I don't know this record. But I bought it for the cover. What a great cover that is.
It's like swinging, you know.
Yeah.
I have no idea what this sounds like.
You know, you'll like it. It's fun.
Yeah, we were just talking about covers earlier today, Mazzy.
Well, I just love this.
Yeah, there's a lot of great record covers from that era.
Okay. So, what's your favorite record covers, Brandon?
Well, obviously, like Blue Notes, because that's part of what got me into photography, and then the 4AD stuff. Here's one of my favorites.
4AD stuff is so good.
Its texture, everything is so good.
Let's see if I can find one.
Hey, Nicole, did you see that? Remember when
this was Cocteau Twins Treasure?
I have that. I have the two of those, the back to back.
This was probably one of the biggest influences of getting me into photography.
Wow.
I don't know. There's a lot. I mean, I'll show you one of my favorites. Let's see.
I always like this one.
The X. Is that the third album or something? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild. Is that Wild?
Wild Gift. Wild Gift. That's a cool album cover.
Oh, X. Yeah.
You know, Vaughn Oliver did all those 4AD covers, most of them.
Yeah, Vaughn Oliver was the designer.
Pink Floyd Animals playing.
I do love that John Zorn cover with the what's the guy, the photographer that did all the dead pictures?
Oh, Joel Peter Wiccan?
No. Ouija that did all the murder stuff. Naked City, that cover.
That was like the mob people that were killed.
Ouija took all those photographs of like.
Oh yeah. He showed up at crime scenes and took
crime scenes, right.
This is you beat me to it.
Vaughn Oliver, curated. I have a couple of his books.
And this guy just died who did the factory records, didn't he?
Peter Seville died?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. Okay.
Vaughn Oliver died about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
He just died like 2 weeks ago.
Wow, I didn't know that.
But yeah, Factory Records had some classic, absolutely amazing, iconic album covers. The Smiths, where Morrissey was pretty much designing those, choosing.
This is actually one of my favorite record covers.
Oh, I just played that today. That's a pretty out there. That's a pretty out there record.
Oh yeah.
I guess so.
Side
it doesn't
one
seem out there anymore.
Side one more than side two, I think.
Yeah. It's interesting because my first copy was side 2 first. They flipped it on the second or third pressing.
Oh yeah.
So I always knew it that way. So it eased me into it.
Yeah. I think which pressing, Brandon, has like on the back cover, even on the back is inverted.
Yeah, it's not like they did it on purpose. It wasn't like a mistake.
Oh, really?
They flipped it and had side 2 start as side 1. And had all the songs, and then they had it. So it wasn't like one of those vinyl mistakes that jazz used to do all the time. They actually just flipped it.
Yeah.
And Roxy Music, had those
Roxy Music covers are great.
Very iconic album covers, and Country Life, and especially Country Life. Gave you a little. My teen years could have been a thrill.
Great 4AD cover.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I want that one. Where'd you get that?
This Mortal Coil.
I love them. Where'd you get that album?
Which one?
I bought this when it came out. This is still the copy I've had.
Holy moly!
Since I was a kid.
That's probably worth something.
You know that
Sound
CD,
Factory. I bought it at Sound Factory in Santa Barbara.
the CD box set of that is really great. That has all of them, and it has the third or fourth disc of the original versions of the songs that they cover.
Yeah,
like Gene Clark and I forget Emmylou Harris, and
They do a song by what's his name from
Tim Buckley.
From Big Star.
Tim Buckley.
Oh, yeah, they do a Big Star song, or
Yeah, that's
two
really
Tim
good.
Buckley songs.
yeah.
They do My Sister, and
That's
they
heartbreaking. That Big Star, the version they do. What's the song? Do you remember the track?
Chris.
There's
Chris Bell.
Chris Bell. Stuff.
Chris Bell. That's what it is.
I Am the Cosmos.
No,
No,
yeah.
what's the track? I'm trying to remember.
No,
the
there's
track. Oh, it's heartbreaking.
one. There's like I first saw you.
Yeah.
You were
The lyrics are just ridiculous.
You had the right pitch there, man.
Dude,
he was the lisping singer. Who was he? He was from some band.
The singer? Well, what's her name from Cocktail Twins sang on something? Did she sing that? No.
They're like a super group. They're like
Elizabeth Fraser.
Elizabeth Fraser.
AD super group.
She has. Did you not notice? I had just showed that she just came out with a new record.
Who?
Elizabeth Fraser. I don't have any original. I just got all reissues of Cocktail Twins.
I'm gonna pretend I'm waxed tonight. Harry, go listen to your old folks music.
This is actually one of my favorite record covers.
Kangaroo. That's the song.
Oh, yeah. I have this one, Brandon. This record is crazy good.
I think it's a beautiful cover.
$15.99. This is the last run of the series.
It's Francis Wolff.
Yeah, the Benny Green. Yeah. So I also like this one because it kind of pays tribute. So this is Spring. That's the OG stereo.
So what PMS color orange is that?
Sorry, Mazzy?
What PMS color orange is that? Never mind.
I have no idea.
It's a design joke or a question.
One thing is funny about the difference in the OGs is stereo mono. The mono has a P, the plastic light on both sides, and the stereo has only one side. And I really like. I think I recommend this record here a couple times. It's a trio record, Okonski, Magnolia. It's inspired on Spring, of course. It's a great, amazing sound record. It's a fantastic trio. It's where's Coal Mine? It's a Coal Mine pressing. It sounds amazing. It does sound really good. The music is beautiful. I highly recommend this record again. I listen to it quite often.
This is another cover I think is great. This Dead Can Dance.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I got a major glare right now.
The first few Echo and the Bunnymen albums also have really cool album covers. They're all like out in the ice or in the woods or very
or on a boat.
On a boat, yeah. That's a very cool little. The first three albums are just.
I like the compilation.
On the beach.
Songs we learn to sing where they're walking and it's just their silhouettes.
Yeah,
and it's like a half compilation, half greatest hits, half
songs to learn and sing.
Songs to learn and sing.
Yeah, I just saw that for sale. I just could have picked that up, and I'm like,
yeah.
It's for Bring on the Dancing Horses. I don't know if it was worth buying it for that.
I think it has a couple B sides.
People Are Strange on that too.
No, it's not. It's before that.
Right.
It's got like Do It Clean and A Promise. It's got some cool B sides on it.
Yeah, Do It Clean wasn't on an album, was it?
No. It was on a live album.
Right.
But it wasn't ever released.
It was on a blue. What was the album? It had a blue cover. I think it was on that one.
Porcupine or.
No, it's just solid blue, I think.
But it was never released as.
Did you ever see them live?
Huh?
Did you ever see them live?
I saw them recently, actually. Me and my wife went and saw.
Yeah.
Them.
I saw them at a big pub in Kilburn in London.
We saw them like I want to say like 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Ian McCulloch was still smoking like
right.
20 cigarettes in the show.
I think I saw them at in New York. Where did I see them? At the Palladium or at the Beacon? I can't remember.
Yeah.
But
I mean, yeah, they went quite often to Brazil. They have a big following there. This is Farmazzi. Speaking of album covers, this is not his edition, but this is a 70s Van Gelder.
Oh, you know something? How much is that? How much?
I don't know. I have the Music Matters that you have, but
I went today to Easy Street.
I think this is not cheap.
Okay, this is a 1967.
No, this is like
1967 mono Blue Note Van Gelder, and this is how much it is right today. $300.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. I know.
I didn't buy it.
Way less than that. This is a 74, 75, I think. But you know, it sounds good to me. But the Music Matters is better.
I paid a little more for that for the. I'd rather have the Music Matters. I hate to say it, but
yeah, and it sounds better.
But I love that cover. I was so disappointed that they're not doing that. They're going to do that as a classic. I would have waited if it was a Tone Poet. I'm superficial because I like the covers, you know, for that one.
I'm going to pull out some covers here I think you guys are going to like from Brazil. Let me just pull some covers here. And I'm sorry. Man, everybody's gone now. I'm going to pull out some covers. Hang on just a second.
Everybody's gone.
I went to art college in Philadelphia. It used to be called the Philadelphia College of Art, and now it's called University of the Arts. And one day, one of my teachers said, "We have a guest," and a gentleman named Howard Finster, Reverend Howard Finster, is going to come and do a demo for you for my class. Now he's famous for Talking Heads and REM album covers, and he actually came in my room. We didn't know who the hell he was, and he came in. And he did a demo with 2 pieces of glass, some epoxy paint, and some pigment, some paint. And he kind of like made a design on the on the piece of glass, put some like epoxy glue, and then swirled it around, and then pressed the glass together and made art. And little did I know that years later that he was famous, super famous for being one of the most well-known folk, primitive artists in the country, in the world. But if you might be familiar with this album or a couple of Talking Heads albums he did.
Yeah.
But that was very cool. Thinking back, years later, I'm like, holy crap, that guy, I stood right next to him.
Didn't he do the Little Creatures?
Yeah.
Talking Heads. Yeah, I knew this. There's I don't think he had it, but I met this gallery owner. He used to be a guy in Columbus, Ohio, that had sort of folk outsider art, but I forgot what it's.
If you ever go to Atlanta, there's a amazing art gallery there, art museum, and they have a huge wing of folk art. It's an amazing collection of terrific folk art from the South, and definitely that's worth the trip if you are interested in that kind of thing.
This gallery owner had he doesn't have the gallery anymore. I'm sure he's retired or possibly passed away, but he had been doing it for a long time, so he had met some of these artists, and it was always very interesting because some of the artists were literally almost like I wouldn't say autistic is sort of the right word, but really strange characters that would live out on, live really in very strange Southern conditions of poverty. And then they'd sell a piece and he'd send them like $3,000 and they'd be like, oh my God,
Right. I mean, they were art people that just were inspired one day to start painting, you know, out of the blue, and they would find whatever paint they could find, tractor paint, house paint. They would paint on a bicycle seat. They would paint on any piece of scrap they could find, and they called them primitive because they never went to art school. And they never, you know, they would paint like every leaf on a tree when they painted a tree. They would paint, you know, every blade of grass. They would paint, you know, they did, you know. Whereas in art school, you learn to kind of, you know, get the impression or kind of get the light. Not so hung up on the detail, you know.
Yeah, and these were still, you know, much. I still couldn't afford them, but they were much, you know, they were $10,000 paintings as opposed to $300,000 paintings that you would find in New York. But I still couldn't afford them. But I was kind of obsessed with a couple of the artists that were from Georgia that were really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's like a coulda, woulda, shoulda bought. I remember going in the early 80s or late early 80s to New York and thinking there was a painting I wanted to, it was like a couple $1,000. I wasn't buying $1,000 paintings, maybe $3,000. And it was a Basquiat, you know, Basquiat, you know, but, and also Cindy Sherman photographs. I saw her first black and white show where she's crossing the street with her self-portraits there. And those were about $1,800, $1,500.
Yeah, I remember Cindy Sherman's being totally affordable.
Yeah,
I remember that too.
I mean, the only reason I own a Basquiat because it's worth something. I never cared much for his imagery.
I like it.
I love it.
No,
I always there's that scene in Basquiat where Bowie's playing Warhol and Edward.
Oh yeah,
Edward Hopper is, or not, Dennis Hopper is Bruno, and he's like, and he shows him the stuff, and he's like, "Ooh, these are really good," you know. And what I want is just one of those like Basquiats that he made on a postcard that was like really quick, you know.
Right.
They're probably worth, maybe they're only worth like $50,000 now or something, you know, because the real paintings are worth millions.
Have you ever watched that documentary on the Warhol's Diaries? Have you seen that?
I saw it. I liked it.
It was great. It was great. And the guy did the voice. They had a computer. I think they had an AI do Andy Warhol's voice.
And it works.
And he narrates, you know, they put in the lines from the book, and that drawl he's got, you know, and it was just so amazing.
Well, Bowie did him really good in the Basquiat movie.
Yeah,
I thought it was great.
I did good, yeah.
But there's a whole thing about his relationship with Basquiat and whether, you know, well, you have to see. I'm not going to go into it, but
it's a good document. I mean, it's
really good. It kept my attention for sure. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I was surprised because that AI thing I was dubious about, but it worked.
I thought at first it was just an actor doing you know, putting in an impression.
Yeah.
But they actually
it's exactly read from the diary.
They took Andy Warhol's voice and fed it through the AI, and it recreated it. His actual voice.
So I have some more covers here to show you guys. This is a Brazilian label, 60s. It was the main like bossa nova label from the late 50s to the early 60s. It's called Elenco, which means cast. So for expenses, they would do everything in black and white and a red dot. And the covers actually became iconic because this combination of colors, right? So you can see covers like this.
Wow.
And I think this was one of the very first ones.
Yeah.
This stuff is great.
Every time I see that record, it's beat to hell, so I don't pick it up.
Yeah, even in Brazil, it's hard to find a good copy. And Bossa Nova was about Rio. I mean, all those guys that lived in Rio, they used to sit on the beach the whole day just to write songs and sing about the city, the lifestyle. So the theme of diving, beach, sea was very recurrent.
All right.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
For this one's called Quartet in C, because all the names of the singers there started with a CY, Sinara, Sibeli, and whatever. So it was a quartet. They have amazing, beautiful voices. This is how the record covers will go for. MPB4. It was also a quartet. MPB means Brazilian popular music in Portuguese. So amazing group as well. This one here, Vinicius de Moraes was a poet writer, but he wrote most of the songs along with Tom Jobim. So most of Tom Jobim songs they wrote together. Vinicius de Moraes. And another live record. This is one of my favorite records of all time. Beautiful, but I just like the color combination, the black and white for cutting expenses became something so popular and big and iconic actually, and very artistic. And this is a more recent one. This is a 1991 record by the singer I think a lot of you guys know called Marisa Monte. And she also uses the same color scheme. And the really cool thing about this record is like all this it's called mice, which means plus. So you have all these addition symbols here. You can actually pull them out and change position. Which is a very
We like changing position occasionally.
If you want to see a strange album cover,
yeah.
Are you familiar with this album?
Oh yeah, of course.
And Linda's on the back, right?
Right. He converted to Islam.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So to me, I've never seen this album before. I picked this up on my road trip.
That's a good record. That's a good record.
It's a very good record.
Yeah.
And I was surprised. I'm not familiar with this one. Everybody knows,
Should
the
have
other album.
Yeah.
But I didn't know this one. And then this is another. Have you seen this one?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
That's another weird cover.
That's a weird cover.
And I picked these both up on my trip, and it's a decent album too. I mean, they're all decent. I mean,
well, the last Strokes record produced by Rick Rubin, they used a Basquiat painting for the cover.
Right. Here's three of my favorite Blue Note covers.
Okay, you're gonna.
Well, Felipe's not gonna make me big.
Yeah, I see you, Brandon. Oh yeah. Yeah.
We already did this one.
Why bother have jazz bums here if they're going to be secretive?
Yeah, the jazz bums are gone. I mean, it's just
this is actually an original.
Well, I told you, $300 I saw that for today.
Well, I got it. I think
Is
my dad gave me that.
Is that mono or stereo?
It's a stereo.
Okay. I love that cover.
It's Time, which is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
You make me big, Felipe.
There you go, Brando. Oh yeah, this one is good.
Yeah, I love this photograph.
Right.
Really good, yeah. I mean, CTI covers are also very, very good.
Probably the best non-jazz cover is this.
The singles cover, that's terrible.
I got the
Is that like a friend of yours?
No, it's not a friend of mine. I'm just I'm trying to I've been here 10 years almost, trying to force myself into the grunge. Lose my voice here. The grunge scene. So the faux grunge scene.
The faux grunge scene.
Actually, look at. I mean, you got Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Paul Westerberg. I wouldn't consider them grunge, but whatever. Mother Love.
Good song.
Pardon me?
Has this stream fallen apart that Maddie is not showing jazz records?
Oh no.
Come on, man.
Okay. Yeah. Can I go over and show off a little bit?
Show some covers.
Okay.
We're showing covers now.
That's a really nice cover.
Hi.
I like it.
Nice to meet you. Hope you guess my name.
I'm a man of wealth and taste.
Yes.
This is a really cool cover, right?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I think it looks kind of weird, but it's interesting. I think the 7 is cool. I like which one? Bruno. Just remember. So Rob, what's up? Where's Notes and Tones? Did I kill Chris and Mike, and now you kill Notes and Tones as well?
I just dropped them off.
Okay.
So we're gonna meet back up tomorrow. We heard about a place that I can't talk about that might have stuff I can't talk about, but I will let people know after we go there. So.
See, Mike and I didn't do record stores. We just sat and ate. And
well, I took him to Record Safari, Atomic, Freak Beat, and Amoeba. So he had a pretty good haul.
Did his daughter find a college yet?
She's going into the 12th grade. She has time.
She's not going to the 12th grade.
Yes, she is.
Oh, right.
How do you know? How do you think getting it in college works?
No,
you decide and then you just show up?
Never mind. Just chill out, Rob. Okay. I sent you a text of that $300 Happenings record. You didn't respond to me.
I thought I did. I clicked. I liked it.
Oh, you clicked. That's like give me a break. That's like you don't give a shit to respond to somebody.
Man, does someone feel bad or what?
No, you didn't do a like. Believe me, you didn't do a like.
All right, Mazzy, here you go.
There's no like there. See?
You know what, Matt? That's a gorgeous picture. Congratulations for finding and not buying.
I can't stand this shit.
Here's a great record cover.
Oh yeah. Nice photo. Good record. I'd like to get that on vinyl. I've got a bunch of her other albums, but I don't have that one. That's her This Woman's Work?
Huh?
Man.
No, that's the best of, or no, This Woman's Work, right?
No, this is the one that came out after Hounds of Love.
Right, This Woman's Work?
No, that's
this is The Sensual World.
Oh, Sensual World.
That's when she left.
It's got that song on it. Right.
That's when she left EMI and went to Columbia.
And the Red Shoes.
88, but I'm not positive.
What's the Red Shoes? Is Red Shoes after that?
After that, yeah.
And that was her last one, I think, before she retired.
Yeah. Do you still do illustration? Are you still an illustrator or not?
It's been years. There's no demand for it.
Right. Well, we used to represent illustrators. And
she can't hit the notes anymore. She sings much lower now.
Yeah, I love that record, actually.
I wish I kind of got very disillusioned by the whole thing. It kind of just petered out over the digital world, kind of knocked out in the stock illustration. I'm sure you know about stock photography, how, the stock illustration, stock photography kind of.
Well, we had a division. We represented illustrators. Do you know Mark Ulrichsen?
Uh-huh.
Because we represented Mark. He made a lot. The best thing for him was the contract he had with the New Yorker. He still does stuff for the New Yorker. But Mark and Mark Macho, we had, and Pamela Hobbs, and who else do we have? We had a bunch. But yeah, we wanted to pay $1 for illustration.
Yeah.
Hey, Rob, do you have anything to show?
Yeah, I have lots of shit to show.
My agents were in London.
Can we talk about how the light works or something, or talk about jazz records? What are we doing?
You got some jazz records? Show some jazz.
Don't be so bitter, Rob. You're so bitter.
I am bitter. I'll show you what I picked up. Mike did a great haul, but I found a mint DMM of this record. There's the DMM. Really looks nice.
That's a pretty good one, Rob.
Yeah. Went to Amoeba. That was at Amoeba. This was at Amoeba for $5. Really nice shape. This is a
OJC?
It's a blue label.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I don't even think this came out as an OJC, but who knows?
Probably not.
This was at at Atomic. This is they got a jazz collection in last week. This is a kind of blue purple label, right?
That must be that must be a reissue of a different one.
I think so. I've seen this before. In fact, I think I've seen someone show this. If I'm not right. I picked this up because I already have a copy from the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
But this is I haven't even identified this, but this is a Van Gelder.
It's like a first or second pressing.
Yeah. But this is in nice shape for $40. So I'll probably sell my other one.
It's a killer record.
Yeah. I mean I have it, but this is better than the one I have. So now this is a very interesting one. Do you know this, Brendan?
it's doesn't it have a different cover?
So it only came out really. It was issued in Japan with a really kick-ass kind of illustration, multicolor. And the only way it was issued in France, and then, the PAUSA issue. They do a lot of. They were weird about how they reissued records. They reissued some really cool ones like this, and some kind of general ones. But this is.
Who's on it?
Look at that lineup. It's killer.
Yeah,
lineup.
Davis, Roland Hanna, Freddie Hubbard.
Yeah, so I think it came out in the 70s in Japan. So I saw it at this record store, but I bought so much I didn't. It was like $60.
But you haven't played it yet.
No, I just got home.
Because it'd be interesting to hear if it sounds good.
This is an OG stereo copy of Bill Evans. I'm interested to see how it sounds because I have the Chad 45. So this is nice and beautiful. I picked up this Ram Blake film noir. I don't know many of the musicians, but there is one song that Ted Curson is on here.
And what year is that?
This is an Arista Norvis from 1980. Now, I've had some Ram Blake records, but they've been mainly him solo on piano. So, interesting. And here's the label, if you ever see these Norvis labels. And then the big pickup of the day for me was this one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably... I don't know. Garland of Red is probably my favorite, but that's probably my second favorite.
That's probably a $6 record.
Yeah. Try again, Mazzy. So
700.
This is a second press because of it's New York's the first one. This is the Bergenfield, New Jersey.
Yeah, it's the same pressing I have. I have the Bergenfield.
Yeah.
What is the catalog number, Rob?
The catalog number is 70886.
Yeah.
Now I have the OJC, the 80s OJC of this that I'll sell, but this is gorgeous, and it was only $50.
Mm-hmm.
Only $50.
I mean, it goes for more.
Yeah, but that's a good price if it's clean enough.
Yeah,
only
no, it's
$50 for music.
I'll clean it and play it, but it looks great. But they had an OG relaxing for $100 there. They had a Believer, an OG Believer, John Coltrane. They got a jazz collection earlier. I bought a few of them, but they put everything on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
They had a bunch of Miles OG, like Mazzy likes to say, fucking relax. They had like two of them.
What was that?
All the Prestige Miles records. Come on. There's videos of you saying this.
Oh, shitting, fucking, screwing, working.
And then
I get it.
I mean, Mike, you should see what Mike.
Does relaxing come first or come last?
What now? Say again.
Relaxing is after you smoke a cigarette.
Okay.
So they also had they had two Bill Evans 1966. With that 1966 they did that weird label that looks fake. It's kind of heel.
Oh yeah.
They had two Bill Evans.
You mean on Warner Brothers?
No. These are Riverside issues in 1966, but they switched to this weird heel label.
Orpheum.
Yeah,
but they're not. It's not weird, but they sound fine.
Compared, it's almost like CBS switching to the 360 label from the Kick-Ass 2i. It just was. It's a weird in progression to me. A weird choice.
They're kind of, but they're kind of a pretty color.
But they had a couple of those in really nice shape for $50 each. But I left them there. Tomorrow, if things go well, where we go and what I was told was there, you'll be hearing about what we will find. That's all I can say.
That's such a teaser.
I know, but
I think I like those Orpheums because, especially for the originals that are outrageously pricey, because they do sound really good.
I've had a few of them, maybe one or two, but I have the box that's stereo, so I didn't need those two pickups. So, but I'm real. The one, I mean, obviously, I'm cleaning and listening to this first.
That's a really good one.
But this one, even though it's a DMM, because I think this the Bobby Hutcherson and the Harold Land. I don't know how many albums they did together. 10. These are just killer albums, I think.
Yeah.
Probably like 7 or 8, but
Is Schizophrenic out? Did Schizophrenic come out?
Yes.
Schizophrenia?
Yeah. Some people were receiving, I think it was like supposed to be September.
I didn't think it's out yet.
No, it's out. I saw it in the
Some people
store.
are getting it. Yeah. Yeah.
I saw it at Amoeba. They had it on the shelf.
So today's
I'm
the day.
behind on my Tone Poets.
Yeah,
I need to grab it.
I want to get. I need to get.
I have an OG of it, so
I'm getting it.
Yeah, I'm not picking that one up, but I am going to pick up the
Black Friday.
John, it's going to sound
Lee
good.
Morgan.
I don't think there's any of those that don't sound good, that don't sound at least as good or better than original. So if you like the music, you got to get it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right? Are there any Tone Poet aside from the so-called warble? I'd never had an issue with that with Blackfire, but some people did. I don't think there's any Tone Poet that doesn't sound better than original.
Yeah.
I think yeah.
Go ahead, Rob. Sorry. No, go ahead.
Well, I think for the most part, the OGs are punchier. They make more of an impression.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if I have a really nice, but the thing is, it's hard to find a.
It's fine to find a good clean copy.
So I will defer to a Tone
But
Poet.
they're different. They're different.
They are.
Yeah, I won't go better because sometimes I like the way a mono sounds.
Right. It's right. It's different than instead of better. That's fair.
The only one I can tell you I've done true comparisons to is Dexter Gordon, One Flight Up. They're two different experiences, but the Van Gelder, it's not even a Van Gelder because it was done in Europe, right? Is it a Van Gelder? I don't think so. It's just a little punchier.
Let me pull mine here up.
I won't. I tend to like a lot of the originals better, but the one I do think that does sound better that's a Tone Poet is the My Point of View Herbie Hancock, because I've had an original of that one and I think the Tone Poet sounds better. Other than that, it's more like apples and oranges. Like, what do you want?
So, Rob, this is a white beat, and it's Van Gelder. I just checked.
Okay, so I have the stereo, which is like I have a third pressing of it.
Yeah. This Van Gelder.
Yeah.
This sounds pretty close to the Tone Poet. I think they sound punchier because of the whole, he was pushing it into.
But do you feel that's a little? Do you have the Tone Poet of that?
Yes.
Do you feel that one's punchier? Like it's a little brighter?
No, I think this one is punchier, but the Tone Poet sounds a little cleaner. You hear things more separate.
I've actually had a million different pressings of that record because it's probably one of my favorite records.
Yeah.
And the original mono is almost too punchy. Like there's how where Donald Byrd and they come in with that like two horns, like really hard at the beginning of Tanya. It's almost like on the original mono, it's almost distorting as opposed to the way the original stereo sounds or the Tone Poets. That's the only record I've really like AB'd like crazy.
The Dexter?
Yeah. One Flight Up.
I have the Stanley Turrentine one that came out last year. I have an OG stereo, and I just got the Tone Poet, but I didn't AB.
It's like 16 Tarantines came out.
It's with the red cover. Came out last year, but again, they're two different. I think they're two different listening experiences. Like Felipe.
I kind of stopped. I decided to do it just with the One Flight Up because it was a record that was kind of so important to me. But I don't even really AB stuff. It's just seems like a waste of time.
Hey, I got two other records that I'll show at the maybe being slightly ridiculed, but I don't think so.
Agreed. The buck stops here. Monocart. That's me.
So I found this is the first time ever. One of the thrift store chains here had a $1 sale. There wasn't much, but this is the first time I've ever found a clean.
That's a great record.
This is
Yeah.
usually when you find this.
Yeah, is it unplayed? It looks unplayed.
It looks unplayed.
Well, why do you think people are mocking you? That's a fucking great record.
I wouldn't.
Nobody's mocking it. It's just inexpensive.
It's a great record.
It was $1. So
it's a great record.
Frank Sinatra records are inexpensive.
Yeah, that's a great record.
This is a great record. I have a copy of it, but what makes this Jim Steinman?
We'll mock you for that one though.
Well, he's the guy who wrote all the
Meatloaf. He's Meatloaf. Yeah.
And this is him. I think the only time he really sang. But
that's the shittiest album ever made. It's the worst album.
It's not the shittiest album, but when you find this, it's cheap. Like this was $3.
Good night, gentlemen.
Have a good night, Dave. Thanks so much for joining. Pleasure to have you.
Take care.
This is
a shitty record, Rob.
Hold on, let me tell you why. It's not a shitty record.
It's a shitty record.
But
it's almost like a Supertramp record.
Oh, hold on. Listen, moron. So, but if you ever heard his version, this song, "Rock and Roll Dreams Come Through," it's really good. But it's only available with this 7-inch that came with it, and you can never find this with this album. This looks like it's unplayed. No one ever touched this record. So
you know why?
Who is that guy?
Record. He co-wrote "Bad Out of Hell" with Meatloaf.
No, yeah, but he also wrote "Total Eclipse of the Heart." A lot of those anthem '80s, '70s songs. But
he was a songwriter.
But if you watched one of my favorite movies of all time, Streets of Fire, the two big songs in there he wrote. What it's
he
like.
Played piano all over the Meatloaf record.
This is a good album.
No, it's not.
And then what about this one, Mazzy? You tell me if this is a good album.
That's a great record.
Great record.
Yeah.
That might be the best one.
Yeah.
It's either that one or Rain Dogs.
Of the later period, though, don't you think? Do you separate?
Do you know this one?
I say that to me, the Pocket is that 80s stuff.
It must be a generational thing because I like the Bones Howe stuff. I like the Asylum years. But I get it. I like that stuff too.
No, the Island, to me, it's the Island stuff.
Yeah,
with Mark Ribot, because that's to me is like the first album I heard was Nighthawks.
I love Nighthawks.
But the first album that like blew my mind was Rain Dogs.
Yeah, I like Heart of Saturday Night. I like all the Bones Howard.
Blue Valentine is great.
Yeah.
Small Change is great. Yep. They're all great, but to me, it's like
fair enough. I like that stuff too. So
Hold on 1 second. I'm doing something.
Obviously, I was really into Mark Ribot, so anything he was on at that point.
Well, there's a lot of people that just don't like the direction. I mean, there's some people that don't like the direction of the voice. They couldn't handle his later voice. I like it, like you do, but you know what I mean. Like, it's
you mean like? But I thought that was more like when Bone Machine happened.
Well, there's that, but it's like
he's
later
still singing. He's still singing on those first albums, but I really like Bone Machine too.
Yeah, I do too. I like all the Tom Waits stuff.
There's some stuff like I never got into the Alice.
Oh God, Alice, the two that came out the same day. Alice and what's the other one?
Alice and what was the other one?
I love those two.
Yeah, the ones on what was the label?
Epitaph.
Epitaph.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it. I actually just sold my Alice. The other one wasn't it called Blood Money? Blood Money?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And I couldn't get into either. I got them both, and I was like, nah, couldn't do it.
Fuck you, Rob. Okay, Jazz Bums. Rob is like sending me bad texts.
No, he's pissed off that I didn't respond because I was hanging out with VC people today, and that I respond to his album he found. So I responded now, and now he doesn't like it.
I am so sad.
Yeah, Maz is like in the streams all day, and
I have to wear my old time Jazz Bum shirts because
you have the OG First Press.
2 weeks ago, I ordered the new one or whatever it was, and I still haven't arrived my new OG. And I had to order blue because black wasn't available. So
Chris, there's one thing that came out last night, and I posted. No one responded to it. Elemental is putting out a Bill Evans record. Did you guys talk about that?
No,
It's
not
a
yet. Actually,
it's a live show, right?
Stuff, but not yet.
But the record that they're putting out is one that I've seen an OG copy of it in person. It goes for a lot of money.
Oh, you mean the where the orchestrated one?
No,
Yeah.
this. Where he's playing songs once electronically and once on a.
Yeah, I used to have it.
You don't like it?
no, obviously.
No, it was weird. I tried to like it so much because I'm such a huge Bill Evans fan, but I think it was more the strings that.
Is there strings on this? I thought it's just him playing on.
No, there's an orchestra.
There's an orchestra.
Hey, Roberto, you're gonna have to meet Mazzy.
Michael Legrand.
Yeah, it's Michel Legrand on back.
Okay.
If it was just piano and Rhodes, I think I would love it, but I couldn't get into the orchestra. And that's weird for me because Bill Evans to me is the best. So,
well, I guess that's done with.
Yeah.
What about the?
But it's getting a lot of money. So,
no, I went to an estate sale where they were pricing records ridiculously.
I got $100 for mine. So
I think it goes for over 200 if it's in minty shape.
Yeah, I sold it to someone who wanted it for $100. They were happy.
Do you guys want to see?
More like I wasn't trying to get that much. Someone wanted it and they got it. So
You don't have the sales beast thing that Rob has.
Oh, calm down.
I have no desire to make a bunch of money.
Radar, yeah.
I want to live poor forever.
My desire is only to make enough money to buy another record. That's all.
I always look at it as like, what will I get my money back, and can I buy a new record? I've bought so many of my records for good prices that as long as I get my money back, I'm pretty happy.
That's fine. Yeah.
Do you want to see records I picked up over this week?
Miles.
Go for it.
I mean, it's a big stack because I went to an estate sale where everything was $3.
Pick a dozen.
If I fall asleep and cut out of here, that's just because of your presentation. But just want to warn you.
My uncle.
Big side. That's nice.
Is that the single or the double?
It's the single volume 1. I have
the doubles from the 70s, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So my uncle Manuel was at one of those nights. He was at either Friday or Saturday. He couldn't remember.
The Tenderloin in San Francisco.
He was stationed. So he was stationed at Fort Orr, which is out in Carmel.
Yeah.
Ish.
Oh yeah.
So when he was in the Army, he would
Monterey.
go to the Black Hawk as much as he could, and it was in the 60s.
Yeah.
Early 60s, or I guess, yeah. When is that show? 60?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he went to one of those shows.
Nice.
This sounds killer. Just I haven't had a 6i that sounds as good as this. That's as clean, it sounds really nice. All right, and Brendan, we have to thank for turning us on to the shitter. I got another
Mr.
Schnitter. This is good.
Who's on it? I think I have that one. Does it have Kenny Barron or anybody like that?
Mickey Tucker, James Leary, and Ed Marshall. This is, I think, his first record.
I think you're right.
It's nice.
Bit horrible artwork, and I've never seen a green label Muse.
Wow, greens super early.
That was the Puke label.
Puke.
I know Chris has shown this record, some others. This tribute to Coltrane. This is from the 80s where they used the QX vinyl that's amber. You can see through. This is great too. You can't go wrong with these guys.
Cover is beautiful.
And you can still find that for a pretty good price.
Yeah, this was $8, I think I paid for it. This I ordered on eBay, and this will not disappoint. This is
Arista,
yeah.
right?
I don't know how I missed that one.
Well, right now it seems to be on the border of affordable and not affordable.
Yeah, I think because I have so much. I kind of was so into Andrew Hill about 4 years ago that I thought I got everything.
If you do your due diligence, you should be able to get this for under 15, but don't be surprised if it goes 25 or more.
If it's like a minty copy, I'll pay 20 if it's super clean.
Yeah, it's starting to go up. This is a 70s, but this is killer.
Cool, not. Oh yeah.
This just to show this is a really good Hill on Arista.
Let me switch you over. Yeah, I have that.
This live, it's just live Andrew Hill. That's it. But it's one of the only good Arista covers too. It might be the only good Arista cover.
You don't like the Ted Kirsten ones?
Ted Kirsten's okay.
Arista made a lot of shitty jazz.
They're pretty bad.
Yeah,
this is really the only one that's really any good.
And that's kind of fair.
The painting's cool. It's a cool painting.
It should have been a full bleed.
Actually, you know what? I think the insert's still in this one, which has a lot of the covers. Let's see.
Fuck Clive Davis.
All right, we're gonna do a voting right now here.
Because this is like the worst. This is like some dude's poster with a black light. It's like the worst.
So comparing them to those 1980 shitty Blue Note issues, these are better.
Well, I don't know. It's like a neck and neck at who's worse.
Well, here we can look now. I have on this insert, so we can go.
Oh, that's the Paul Bley one, huh?
Yeah,
that one's not so bad. It's not terrible, but you can't tell if they're because a lot of times the horribleness is like the pink Miami Vice pastels or something.
Now I have this one.
The Oliver Lake one is actually kind of neat.
Yeah, I have the Oliver Lake over here, so that's not bad.
Oh, and the Roland Hannah is kind of cool.
I think,
although it's pastel-y.
This is like a ripoff of a Headhunters record.
Yeah, that's a good record, but the cover really sucks. The Roland Hannah is kind of neat. Not great. The Hempill is bad. They did like Miami Vice pastels. I have that Waldron. It's like sky blue. The Shep looks terrible.
They just reissued this one.
The Toot My Horn?
Yeah.
It's not, I don't like it that much.
All the Randy Weston ones look like ads for cruise ships.
Yeah. They look like new age albums.
Albert Eiler one's good. It's not bad.
Oh, the Art Ensemble one is kind of cool.
That's okay.
But it's just because the colors are all like bad pastels. Anyway, we already did good covers. There's bad covers.
Nice.
I kind of think that the Blue Note ones are worse, though.
They are worse. But I'll tell you this. Still right now, these Arista Freedom ones are the best bang for your buck. On average, you should be able to get them for $7.
Be quiet.
Yeah. Why? I mean, a lot of mules you can find at 10-15 range.
Yeah, definitely under $15.
I got to head out, guys, but nice seeing you all.
Oh, before you leave, you guys see this record.
There he is.
So I have an OJC of this. I'm gonna let go.
So looking at that cover, that must be yacht jazz.
No,
that's not quite a yacht.
That's W jazz.
Well, that's yacht jazz.
It's a very small yacht.
It's yacht jazz. I mean, come on. I had a big argument because people are saying that Steely Dan is yacht rock. Steely Dan is not yacht rock. If you don't like them, that's fine, but they're not yacht rock.
No, Michael McDonald's yacht rock.
Well, that's different, but that's not.
But Michael McDonald played with Steely Dan.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He's very important to Steely Dan.
Yeah, he played with the Doobie Brothers too. That's
Steely Dan liked Michael McDonald.
He did.
These are the estate sale records.
I have that charade.
I'm gonna probably sell most of these. So
that's a good record. Seriously.
It's a good movie.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, great movie. Best Hitchcock movie that Hitchcock didn't direct.
Wake up, little Susie. See,
this one. This is a 6i. I haven't listened to any of these.
It's still in that awful plastic that they used.
Yeah. Like this person, I think, barely listened to the records.
The first thing you should do is get rid of that plastic.
Well, I haven't gone through and cleaned any of these. I will. I'll put them in new sleeves and everything.
That's a weird one.
This has got Stan Levy.
Is it a hi-fi record? Is that a hi-fi record?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's by Hi-Fi, the label, off Melrose. Sunset.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
This Monty Budwig, Richie Camara, and Vince Giraldi's on here, and Connie Conley.
Conte Condoli.
Condoli. Okay.
My dad loved them.
This
that looks very clean. Same person, right? With the super clean records.
Super clean. All of them are super clean. I don't know. Do you know this label? When it's
on Pacific.
Yeah, but this gray. When it's gray like that.
Oh, that's just when they were doing stereos.
Stereo. All right. And then these Jimmy Smiths are clean as hell.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. Here. There's a bunch of them. Might as well do them in order. Come on, Jimmy Smith.
Well, this is a good one.
And then this one you see all the time, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Actually, I see all those Jimmy Smiths and the Cat one too. All the that's a really good record and underrated.
That's a cool
Soulburst.
Who's on here with them? It's crazy. Chick Corea, Jerome Richardson, Jerry Donegan, Sheldon Powell, Bobby Rodriguez, Richard Davis, Grady Tate. Killer.
Nobody ever gives Jader any credit.
Mazzy does. Mazzy loves Jader.
I love my whole family does.
This thing is clean as hell.
Yeah, it'll sound great too. The fidelity on those is really cool.
This I have a really clean copy of, but I might swap it out for this one. This is really good.
This is a really good record.
Yeah, I'm not a big Stan Getz guy, but this is really.
I think this best. In a sense, kind of better than Getz Gilberto because it's a live record.
Yeah, it's really good.
If it's a Van Gelder, it's gonna sound amazing.
Well, I am a fan of Getz, and I like that one.
Here, have you ever seen this? Now everything's out of order. Have you ever seen this one?
Oh,
yeah. I mean, I hardly ever get greatest hits.
But pretty cool for a sampler.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. No, it's really good.
This one's interesting. Why I knocked my thing down?
Oh yeah,
I
have that.
This is. Oh, it is not. I have one that's red vinyl, not this one.
Is that on Pacific too?
Pacific, yeah.
Yeah, I think I have that copy.
I started seeing records of these guys.
Oh yeah. I had a couple. I had one or two of their records. I sold them.
Mm-hmm.
Good starting point for Jimmy Smith is the Sermon.
Yeah, Sermon and House Party, both.
And,
well, the Blue Notes.
Chicken Shack. Yeah, those are all Blue Notes. Chicken Shack too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He plays Shampoo. That's because that's I guess his main lineup. The Ron Jefferson they have a Sam record with him, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then a bunch of minty Frank Sinatra records.
That's nice.
Yeah, I see those all the time. Is that the one that's special, or is Mike would know? Jazz Bum Mike would know which pressing that is.
These are reissues
Yeah,
because
Chicken
these
Shack
were
is
10,
good.
10 inches. But this is, if you're going to get one record from this is it.
Sweet Rain is a top-notch album budget file. There's
Yeah,
some killer gets that
Yeah,
never
but
gets
it's
never
like
gets the credit.
Chick Corea. It's a good lineup.
Yeah.
This is killer. This sounds so good. It's a 70s issue.
Early 70s screen.
Yeah. I've been picking up a bunch of Oliver Lake. And this is more on the Norvis label. This is more free jazzy. Does anyone know this record?
No. Jazz in Sweden?
This is the highest
I
selling
like that record.
Swedish jazz record of all time.
That just means I think it just means Swedish jazz. Here's that Sweet Rain.
Jazz in Sweden, yeah.
This is probably my favorite Stan Getz.
Yeah, like his best for sure.
This record is incredible. And it's got, let's see who's on it. Forget. Ron Carter on bass, Grady Tate on drums, Chick Corea piano. That's a killer lineup.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to see the two best records I got from that estate sale?
Yeah, put Rob back.
So I got it. So here's the deal. I was third of the people going in for the albums. The two guys ran in and grabbed two stacks like this to go through. And one guy got a Mint Sidewinder, New York label, like the one you want to find. He got like a Bill Evans. I went in with my long arms and grabbed a smaller stack, but I found two really good records. This is great. Area, really good. This is Joe. When I showed this in our little private thread, had mentioned these ABs or the pressings are used recycled vinyl, not the cleanest sounding records, but they sound good. The music comes through nice and loud.
It totally depends on sometimes ABs sound good. Sometimes you have to play them.
I cleaned them twice. They sounded better each time. And then
you'll know if it's recycled. That's the one I want. I was looking for that one for a while.
This is being reissued by Newland from what I hear. So this is OG mono, beautiful, sounds great.
Cool. Yeah, I think the second pressing is actually New Jazz. I think it got put on New Jazz. But that's a good deal if you got it for $3.
Yeah, about everything from that estate sale was $3. I picked up like 20 albums.
Yeah, John Wright is the winner. And I love Manteca. I have the mono and the stereo original.
Well, like even today, somehow in the last 3 weeks, I've picked up so many Red Garland records.
Sometimes you just find one artist and they just keep showing up.
Right.
And it's weird.
And I have like 15, I think, Red Garland records now, and most of them are OG, Yeah,
Red Garland was one of my early loves as far as because I like piano trios, so I picked up a lot of the Garland stuff early.
You're right. And again, I'm going to, after I leave here shortly, I'm going to clean that Red piano because that's my favorite one.
Yeah, that one and Garland of Red are my two favorites. And I think it's the same group. I think it's Art Taylor and Paul Chambers.
Yes.
On both of them.
Oh,
pretty sure.
There's another
Maybe not.
There's a very interesting record that I found. I don't think I showed it. This one.
Oh yeah. That one's pretty cool.
So it looks silly because they're playing music that John Lewis is presenting of these two artists, Jim Hall. I do not know Gunther Schuller, but the lineup on here is very interesting. Scott LaFaro's on here, and Bill Evans is on one song. Ornette Coleman is on this. Eddie Costa, George Duvier. There, it's very interesting. So, and this is looks like it was not played.
Yeah, looks perfect.
Perfect. So it's funny what you find. If you the way that this hobby has trained me to look is forget about who's on it. It's the sidemen, like this one. Forget about Alvin. It's really about Theodore and Simon. It's not even punk songs on this.
No, it's not.
Here's another Cal Jader I got, but this is a later one.
Yeah, I kind of dig that one.
Yeah,
it's not very valuable.
No, it's a
that might be a $1 record.
There was a
I think it's just because I've been to Grace Cathedral, although it doesn't look like that anymore.
So interesting. Felipe, where'd you go?
He's probably falling asleep. Felipe, he's gonna fall asleep and leave the thread up forever.
Well, I have the power to take it down. So
okay.
But this, I will be interested to compare this to the one I have. I mean, I think it's probably the same plate. I have a 72, and I think this is an original.
Yeah, I find it to be no different, like very little or no difference between like the first pressing and then the rainbow, the first rainbow, which is the black.
Well, this does have an ABC Paramount inner sleeve.
Mm-hmm. Which makes me think it's a second pressing, but just barely.
Yeah. I think consistently these Impulse are great sounding.
Yeah. And maybe it's just that they sound so good that it doesn't really matter if you get like an absolute first or a second or a third.
I feel like quality wise, up until the 73, they were making them the same.
Mm-hmm.
But even after that, when they started, I have a few Impulse with the ABC Green label, but the covers are still pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
But up until 73, you get the full experience of having this nice thick gatefold with the fat spine.
Right.
Yeah.
If something for me, if it's got a gatefold, I want to get the gatefold. I'm just gonna skip the whatever the 74 or the 75 is if it doesn't have it, because I want the extra pictures as well as the reading.
Has one, but yeah, this is a killer album.
Yeah. This is what I showed earlier. This is a really inexpensive, great record.
Now I have a few of his. Hold on, let me.
But there's the band.
Now, would you call him a poor man's Gil Evans?
No, because he's a vibe player, and he doesn't do as. It's not as big of a. It's not as. Because Gil Evans has like a cinematic almost sound, it sounds like it could be a movie soundtrack to like a big production with all the strings and everything. And Gary McFarland's like more like his movies would be like, I don't know, like The Party or something like that. It's more like groovy, small, it's still like 7 or 8 people, but it's not nearly as huge a sound. It's more fun. It's pretty groovy. As far as like, I mean, not to the point of being like, it's still pretty interesting. I mean, it's not like space age bachelor pad music, but it's still kind of got that vibe to it.
Yes. Anything? I think I might take off in a few minutes.
Well, I think we lost our.
I text Felipe. He said he was getting something to eat, but I just told him I'm probably gonna. I have control of shutting it down. So, but if anyone wants to come up, let me know.
Yeah, don't leave me here all by myself.
No, I'm not doing that.
Let's see what I can show.
I have more to show. I have so many freaking records.
Well, go ahead. Here's one. Someone asked about the British stuff that I really like earlier. They're probably not watching anymore, but this is a record I really think is great. And
what
it's
is
the John Cameron Quartet. And I don't think we'll know any of these guys because I sure don't. Danny Thompson bass, Tony Carr percussion. Oh, Harold McNeil, I do know him. He's the flute player and alto sax. And then John Cameron's the piano player. This is a really cool sort of slightly out there, but just a really hard moving post-bop kind of record. It's really good. Oh, here's something. I picked this up too. This is sort of interesting. It's actually really short. It's Max Roach with, it's got Ray Mantilla. So the side one is kind of jazzy. There's about, I don't know, you got a viola, cello, violin, 2 violins, bass, sax, and trumpet. Cecil Bridgewater on trumpet.
When is that from?
It's on Soul Note.
So it's like in early 80s or 70s?
Probably. No, 86. And the side one is jazzy, and then side 2 is kind of almost like a classical recording, and it's really short. It is literally like 5 minutes each side.
He did a lot of interesting things around that period. I had a Soul Note record where it was just him and like not even a string quartet. It was like 4 cellos or something.
Mm-hmm.
But like one side was him with them, and the second side was just solo drums.
I think it's pretty cool. I just didn't notice when I bought it that it was short, so I put it on, and then pretty soon I was flipping it over, and then it was done.
So is it a 12-inch?
It doesn't say anything like this is an EP or a single or anything like that. It's just a record that happens to only have 10 minutes total of music. But it's pretty cool. I don't know if this is something I probably didn't show this. This is a Joe McPhee live.
Yeah, you've shown that, but I have the Superior Viaduct. I have that.
Yeah, that's what this is, I think.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool. And it's very different from what he usually is. I mean, this is more out there and funky than his, I guess more esoteric kind of stuff that he plays that's really sparse. This is much more hard and driving. But this is definitely worth getting, and I think it's only about $25.
If it's still available, because they sell those out and they don't really repress them.
I feel like I've seen it quite a few places, but
I've seen it around, yes.
Jazz oboe is the worst. Is that what we're hearing?
No, it's not.
I like oboe.
I like Yusef Lateef plays it.
So did I guess Dolphy didn't. Dolphy played bass clarinet, but Eric Lateef played oboe. I think I must have a record that has jazz bassoon.
Well, some of those Harold Rumsey Lighthouse All-Stars, they played almost, he did highlight, like I have the flute one,
Mm-hmm.
He would highlight weird instruments on those, right?
Yeah.
French. I don't know French horn.
It might be. This could be that roach could be a promo of some sort, I guess.
I think I've yet to hear a true Roach record that's not really enjoyable to listen to.
Yeah. I have this one live in Paris that's really cool. I think what else in there.
Okay.
What's going on?
What's up?
Here's a record. I think I've shown this before, but this is one of my favorite Marion Brown records, and I'm going to keep showing it because it's really worth getting.
What label is that on?
This is on Impulse. I think this is right around the same time he did Vista, and but this is like a later. So he did the what is it? Is it 4 for Shep?
Yeah, I have
3 for Shep or 4 for
I
Shep?
have 4 for Shep. I have a white label promo of it.
So this is after that. This is more. I guess this is considered more spiritual than free,
Mm-hmm.
and this one's really good. Although I'd say it's. I guess it's a little more out there than Vista, which I think came right after this one.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just get the dates right here. Vista's probably my favorite. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I might have to bust this out.
Mm-hmm.
Are you moaning, Felipe? What's going on?
No, I'm good.
So this is Marion Brown, Paul Bley on piano. I guess Mulhall Richard Abrams also on piano, James Jefferson, Steve McCall, and Bill Hassan. But this record, and there's some really cool photos in here. It's a very like 70s looking dudes.
I forget which. I have another Impulse of Marion Brown. It's all white. It's like the Southern something or other.
Oh, I don't know that, but I'd like to see it because I'm looking for anything, especially in this.
You have the ECM one. I have that one.
Yeah, that one's. You mean the one with everyone else?
Yeah, it's like 500 people on that record.
Yeah, I don't love that one. The black cover, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, it's all right.
I feel like they need to issue his stuff.
Yeah, I'd be happy with someone doing that.
You know what I saw in the store today is the 2 new Verve by Request. They had the Sun Ra record, and they had the new Albert Eiler record. Were in the store today. No one's talking about those. So I guess those are the 2 that dropped.
What's the Eiler?
I thought it was going to be like the Grass something one, but it's not. Let me pull it up. It is Love Cry.
Oh, okay.
That was at the store.
Oh,
and then the Sun Ra is what?
I will tell you right now. Sorry. It's Space is the Place.
Oh, cool. I have that, but
you know what record they need to reissue, and I've been listening to it, and it's killer, is the Ronnie Boykins. Do you have the Ronnie Boykins?
Which one?
So he only put out one as a leader. I thought he was a bass player for Sun Ra, and it's a one album ESP put out. The story that I think goes is ESP approached him in the late 60s saying, we want you to do a record for us. And I think he kind of said, I'm not ready yet. And like 4 years later, he goes, I'm ready. And he did this record, and it's awesome. It's very avant-garde, not really too free jazzy, but very sparse and You know,
Yeah,
it's
that's
awesome.
that's
His
the
yeah.
the ECM one. And Cole's
No,
right?
it's the ESP desk. ESP.
No, but her Afternoon of a Georgia Fawn.
Oh yeah. That's right. Nicole's right.
So
But that
Boykins did that. I know I've seen the ESP.
it's just him on the cover holding his cello, his bass, whatever. But it was Joe. It was, but I picked up these. ESP is sort of still around, but they're issuing very horribly pressed versions of their records.
I think
They're
no, because
warped.
the new ones are Scorpio though. I talked to Eric.
Yeah, well, but you can go to their website. They even have a deal where you can buy almost all their records for like $300.
Mm-hmm.
But I just got a Pharoah Sanders one. I get Pharaoh's first, and it's warped. They're just
Well, I got that Pharaoh too. It's by Scorpio. It doesn't sound good either.
it sounds, but I mean, come on, have some pride. If you own those records, maybe they don't have the master tapes anymore. I don't know.
I think what they did was at the beginning, and this is just a theory, but I think they had the plates, and once the plates got really beat from their repressings, is they just did them digital, and that's what I think all the new ones, because all the new ones are Scorpio.
Well, they need to do something, because I want that. The only other version is an Italian one from 2003, but I can't imagine that one's any better. You know?
Yeah.
I would like to see a good version of that one come out, man.
Well, there's a few. But to be honest, except for the Pharoah Sanders, and I guess there's a couple, but most of them are still in the $30 to $50 range to find an original in good shape. It's a lot of
that Albert Eiler one. I remember Record Safari do these Wednesday night online drops that you could never get a copy of. I don't know how to check out faster than most people do. They had a VG copy, they called it, for $40, and even in VG state, that record goes for a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that wouldn't be the one I would get anyway.
Spiritual, whatever.
Mm-hmm. With the weird drawing on it.
Yes. But I mean, I want the Sonny Simmons are not cheap.
Yeah, I mean, I just got
Sonny Simmons.
I showed it earlier. I just got the one I had been wanting forever.
What was that?
Bob James Explosions.
He did an ESP disc?
Yeah, it's really good. And it's not what you would think of as Bob James. And it's Bar Phillips on bass and I guess Robert Posar on drums. It's really cool. It's really out there. It sounds like something you would expect from someone like Paul Bley or something. But I finally got it. I'd been wanting a copy for a while, and one showed up locally for $20, and it's like a 70s pressing, and they're still pulling those from the original lockers.
Locally? What do you mean locally? Like
one of the shops here.
Oh, okay.
It's actually the guy that has all the ESP reissues too.
You know, I could tell you, I recommend to people, because sometimes I'll tell you how you should try and buy stuff. Facebook Marketplace, but make your settings for local pickup, and you can find some good stuff. Mercati, I don't know if you go to Mercati a lot.
No, sometimes I get sent there for whatever reason.
If you do some searching there, like that's how I got my Chico Freeman Chico for like $20. Offer Up is a good one, but you got to pick local. The reason I say local is then you could say to the people, can I come by and look at the records? That way you're not being mailed something and you don't know. Mm-hmm. And if they're being apprehensive about it, then time.
You know, I wonder if that works here just because we have so many record shops that people will just take their stuff in.
I mean, the metro area of Portland, is it 2 million people? There's then there should be plenty of records that people are trying to sell.
Or 1.5.
Right. That maybe they went to a record store and didn't like the offer they were given, and they're trying their luck. But going to these sales apps, Craigslist is a lost cause. Don't even go there unless you want to be molested by somebody. But OfferUp's good. Facebook Marketplace is good. If you choose the local pickup and tell them, can I come look at the records? Also, Nextdoor. Nextdoor is good.
Well,
and then 2.6. Okay, thank you, 1188. So, yeah. That means you can find an albino midget nymphomaniac. If there's over 2 million people, there's that demographic exists.
I think it's 1.5, but let me check.
But here's one thing where they go city limits. Come on, it's the metro area. I'm gonna go clean this now. Felipe, are you ready to take over?
Felipe, where are you?
Are you drinking shots of gin right now? Come on. Yeah, I think I'm going to do an auction next Saturday, guys. I need to get rid of records. And I have a lot of good stuff I think people want.
Here, I'll show this again. This is still one of my favorite records that I think everyone should go out and buy before it's $500.
Yeah, you know what? You talked about that before, and I went looking. It's not cheap.
No. And when I got it, it was in like the 150 range. But I think it's now in the 350 range.
How long ago was that?
Like 5 or 6 years ago. Anyway, this is just as good as...
I mean, they're reissuing their records. Why don't they reissue that?
I don't know. But
yeah. I'm coming by next week, Dino, to grab some boxes from you.
Well, the first ECM.
Yes, it's
his. Mal Waldron.
Yeah, I have the reissue, which has the extra record, which people forget.
This is even better, and it's the same bass player, Isla Eckinger. It's a different drummer, though. And I honestly don't love, like Beatles covers or pop covers done jazz style, but this version of Eleanor Rigby is so good. And
really,
Fred Braceful is the drummer. It's really cool. It sounds like it would be cheesy, but it's not. And Spanish Bitch, Eleanor Rigby, Black Chant, all that funk. There's just 2 songs on each side.
Well,
about 10 minutes each.
I made a comment in our thread. I read the liner notes in that Monk mosaic box I got, which is outstanding, by the way. And the fascinating thing was the reason he left Columbia was because of the Beatles. Columbia wanted him to do a Beatles cover album, and he was so offended by that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would want to do that. I mean, that sounds awful.
That seems like a strange request to make of Monk. Who did he ever do?
I don't know. Grant Green did that Blue Note.
But Grant, you're talking about different things. I think it suited his style to do covers. Plus, he did a lot of covers, and actually, like Al Green's "I Want to Hold Your Hand." Every Al Green cover, Al Green makes that his song. You know
I understand, because I don't see how Thelonious Monk would even translate. It doesn't seem to make any sense.
Unless they made him go the Verve way, where that, to me, I hate Verve for the ridiculous way, the Elevator-esque way they made their artists do covers. It's just so bland, and not enjoyable to listen for me.
Right.
It ends up sounding like a parody, you know. But I mean, he made the right. He left. So the story was he left, and then he toured a lot. That's, I guess, how he dealt with it. He went on tour. And
so what? Columbia wanted him to do it, or
Columbia executives wanted him to do a Beatles cover album, and that's why he left Columbia. And he did. He went to Black Lion. That's what some of the stuff on this Mosaic box is. But he really never did or recorded much. You know. Then he went into seclusion. I'm sure mentally that was his issue. You know, and he was in poor health for the next 10 years, right? But he did this one thing he didn't want to do, but it made money, is they did these all-star tours. Him and Art Blakey and a bunch of other guys went on these. They put out a few live albums. Monk hated it, but they made so much freaking money doing these tours.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did it like in 71 and 72 in the early 70s. So they're great liner notes in that Mosaic box. So.
And was that France, or was that all European tours?
It was all worldwide tours.
Okay.
Then he did tours with his son playing drums. I forget who else was playing, because I think it was like a round table of musicians, because he lost his core people. So he was playing with, that's another thing. He didn't have a solid group around him.
Mm-hmm. Right, because he had Charlie Rouse for a long time. That was kind of his.
But then I think there was one guy who played with him for a year or two. I forget who exactly that was. But I mean, those solo Black Lion records are good.
Yeah, I need to get more of them.
I think doesn't Org still have? They have Monk stuff. I think they might have Black Lion, but I know they have those British stuff, right? What were those Monk British albums?
I don't know.
He's wearing specs and that kind of hat he has. It sort of looks like what I'm wearing.
I don't know. Were they early 80s?
No. These, if you go, let me go to Org site and see.
Or is this stuff that was reissued?
This is Org reissued them, but I thought they were legit. Org site's down. They say go to their Bandcamp. I'm at their Bandcamp. So Org did reissue that Charlie Shep. There's a trumpet in my soup. They reissued that. Where are you here? Let me... Monk. Yeah, their site's down. Monk London Collection. That's the one Org does. But
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right. They have yeah. Yeah, their site's down. And by the way, it looks like Org's reissuing the Westbound records. Interesting. Westbound has a reissue campaign. Maybe they'll put out find a decent version of Maggot Brain. All right. I think I'm going to shut it down because Felipe's...
I think he's gone to sleep.
Yeah.
Oh, no, there he is.
Oh. You're muted.
You're muted.
Hi, I'm Felipe, and I floss and brush regularly.
No. I mean, 7:30. I just stepped out to grab a bite. But yeah.
Who did you bite?
I got a Trader Joe's ciabatta with olives, black olives. Pretty good.
Okay.
And a 10% beer.
I want to listen to a record before my neighbors murder me.
Go
But
ahead.
it was lovely chatting with you guys.
I'm ready to go too.
Hopefully, I'll have a good experience tomorrow on this venture to find records I was told are at a certain place.
Yes. Yeah,
Might
let
get
us know, Rob. Yeah. Thanks so much.
You might be really interested in what I find, Felipe.
Okay. Yeah, let me know. Keep me posted.
Yeah. All right, everyone, have a lovely weekend. And I'll talk
Enjoy
to you soon.
Labor Day weekend. See you guys
Yes.
later.
All right.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.